You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello there, and welcome back.
What is this place?
Disconnected.
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 Disconnected. Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected. Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
I'm starting to feel disconnected.
You have reached a number that has been disconnected.
Hello, and welcome to Discmas Nights, live tonight with the one and only, bringing him in right now, Mr. Howard S. Berger, from the Cave of Wonders. Jesus.
Hello, sir. How are you?
How are you?
Okay. Almost didn't make it. So, hanging on by the seat of my pants here.
Well, speaking of that, California's getting flooded like crazy right now. How's the storms treating you?
Well, we're on battery right now. On my street, we're out of power. So hopefully that'll come back soon. But I don't think it's this way everywhere. But it's for me, it's great. I love the rain. I don't love people getting crushed to death under tons of mud and getting smashed up in their cars. It's pretty bad. But I don't go anywhere. I just sit here and do this stuff, and then so you're my social my desperate social needs for the month.
Even on Christmas. Well,
it ain't white, that's for sure. It's all just wet.
Actually, Jettison, I do reply to chat. These are not recorded, thank you. I'm live every single time, buddy. I've only missed one Thursday in 4.5 years, and every other one of those has been live. Let's get this done. I am... this is not Amazing Critical Film. I am sorry. I am bringing Howard on by phone, and then after that, if he follows through, I will get Jeremy Long on. Jeremy Long is watching, and he will be live. Howard lost power at his house. He is in Southern California, and I don't know if you're paying attention to the news, everybody, but Southern California is crazy bad right now. There are streets actually near where I grew up that are completely washed out and not doing well. Here's Howard via phone.
Hello, hello.
Oh, you even sound better now.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, welcome. Wonderful to see you.
All right, hold on one second. Let me...
Oh, this makes for great TV.
There we go.
This.
This is just bizarre. I have never done this on a phone before, but okay.
Well, hopefully it works. Hopefully your phone doesn't die in like the next 8 minutes and we can get this done.
We'll keep it going. So now, back on track.
So you said you don't get to watch much other than what you're working on. Is there anything that you've been able to watch recently that wasn't a recent physical media release? Or one that's coming up that hasn't been announced yet? Because I'm sure you have about 84 of those too.
Yeah, gosh, I think I watched the French Napoleon, the new Abel Gance, the 7-hour Abel Gance thing.
I've still never seen that.
Oh my God! Well, it's funny. I saw that thing on at Radio City Music Hall in 1980,
Jeez.
And they had but that was like 4.5 hours long. This is like almost 3 hours longer.
Yeah,
and it looks like it was made this afternoon. Now it's really gorgeous, but it's a wild movie. Like it's all pure innovation, and he's really. I mean, it's 1927, so you'd think that they were already gotten a real groove with attempting brave cinematic techniques.
Right.
This guy it's just wild. It's just wild cinema. So
that's the one where they had like 3 projections, right?
At the very end, there's a triptych.
Okay.
That was set up. It's not the whole movie like that, but it doesn't need to be. There's just amazing, attempts at technical storytelling, which just hadn't been done at the time. Really amazing stuff. So that I eked out 7 hours over 3 nights to watch. I'm sure. Oh, I watched the Kino Scars of Dracula 4K.
Oh, nice.
That I loved.
Good movie.
I can't help that. That's my childhood. It's a wonderful
Other than what you're contributing to, are you picking up any physical media over the last few months?
Yeah, but I haven't watched any of it. I'm trying to remember
That's fine. That's fine. We're just curious what kind of stuff that you're interested in that you've been buying.
Let me think. I got just a lot of the new 4K stuff I've been getting. Vinegar Syndrome is coming out with just like a fountain of stuff that's unending, and Kino, same thing, has been putting out some really good things on 4K. I'm not like a technical guru, so I have no idea. I don't want to say, oh, I love it. That looked great. And then everyone piles on me like, this was the worst transfer ever.
Well, to be fair, compared to most other people, you actually did see many of these projected like on their original runs for many of the movies.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, most of them. Although, I have to hand it to, Severin and Vinegar Syndrome. They're finding stuff that like still was only like bucket list stuff for me, So that's great. So no, we're entering a new era where my expertise has now hit a brick wall, but it's great because now I can learn new shit. This is what I live for. It's really pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, I know I must have watched stuff. I did get a ton of titles, but they're all sitting, they're all in the boxes still on the floor. So I haven't even unpacked them. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I saw the Paul Thomas Anderson thing, One Battle After Another. That was my once a year now trip to the theater. I actually was able to get out. I don't know if it's still playing, but I did miss Kill Bill in '70. That's what I was hoping to do for my birthday. Then I blew that one completely. So, I did get to go to the Las Vegas Sphere and see The Wizard of Oz in the Sphere thing, which was really kind of freaky because it's AI. A lot of it. Yeah. So all those weird flaws you see in AI, like it's like Westworld when they say, look at the fingertips, or look at their cuticles, or look at their eyes, and you can tell they're fake robots. It's the same thing. Like the eyes are just freaky. It looks like partially like a cartoon. Really weird, but it was fun, and they actually had so it's almost like they would also have wind blowing and interactive things that they do in the theater itself, which I didn't know they were going to do, and that was kind of cool because they had flying monkeys also, like additional flying monkey puppets. I did not hear that part. That's great. Kind of cool. Yeah, I watched them carry them out at the end. They were cleaning up the theater afterwards, and they're like carrying out these flying monkeys. I don't know, little things like that make my life.
AI thing sounds dreadful, but like the 4D aspects, I could really get behind, like the wind tunnels and the flying monkey puppets. That would be fun.
It was cool, and they even had the forest of apple trees, whatever. They had these cloth, these sewn apples falling on you also from the way high up in this thing. And it's really steep. I was terrified. I was terrified to get to my seat. It's really narrow. And they're all these, the youngest person in that theater is probably me, and I'm trying to get it. Everyone there has real walkers and, and they were, everyone's singing and crying, and they know all the hand gestures the actors do. So I was late trying to get into the theater because it's a long walk from where we were staying, and I'm getting into the aisle, and I look down, and I am gonna fall. It's like a steep. You'll get you're gonna drop into a volcano. That's how steep this thing looked to me, and I was terrified. And I said, I can't go in there. And my girlfriend's already in her seat, and I'm like, I can't do it. And all these significantly older people sitting, I didn't want to trip on them or something, trying to get to the seat. And they're like, you can do it. You can do it. And they're holding out their hands for me to hold on to.
I love that you have all these 74-year-olds cheering you on. That's amazing.
74. We're talking like, guys, they were alive when this thing was released. Now, they were talking considerably older than 74. That's the new 30. I mean, like, these guys literally had to have been in like their high 90s or no joke. But they were very accommodating. I felt bad. I didn't want to trip on them, or I didn't want to pull them down to the, it's scary, but it's totally worth it. I mean, it was just go on a weekday, because then the hotels are much cheaper, and course, we got a really good deal on the Venetian. So anyway,
I love this. Aaron over at Cinejourney says, "I want William Castle at the Sphere. Give me the Tingler." Yeah, that'd be fun. Although if you get shit out of your seat and tumble down, maybe that's a liability problem.
That's a great idea, though. Once you go and you see what the potential is, that's a really cool idea. Castle would work great. Oh, yeah, definitely. The Tingler. Holy cow. But, what would happen if you tingled those seats? They would just go flying out, and you would lose half the audience. It would just fall into this abyss. But, that's a great idea. What would happen
if you tingle those seats? Sounds like a double entendre, Howard. Thanks. All right. So I'm going to get, I know that you don't have a pile of pickups next to you, but just to share a couple things that I've happened to get in the last couple weeks. My mother-in-law went on my Amazon wish list and got me Scooby-Doo and Kiss Rock and Roll Mystery on Blu-ray.
Rock on.
Yeah, stoked on that. I've never seen any of Bo Weideberg stuff, and I got the new Swedish Cinema box set from Criterion, so this is all brand new to me.
That I think I got that over the summer. I don't even remember what month it is, so I that's amazing. Everything is great. Adelon was it 31 or something like that. That's incredible. Great. Man on the Roof. That's amazing.
I think, Elvira Madigan, The Baby Carriage, Raven's End, and Adelon 31, yeah.
Adelon 31's incredible.
And then I've got one more. I've got a new one, and then one that I know that you'll be able to talk about. So I'll show the new one first. The new Begonia film. This is from Yorgos Lanthimos from this year. Remake of Save the Green Planet. Did you ever see that one?
Great. Yep. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what it was. I haven't seen it yet. I have it sitting out there, but no, I haven't watched it yet.
Supposedly a loose remake. I need to see the original. I've still never seen it. I'm waiting for that Arrow disc that's coming out in the UK to be able to see.
Wow. Oh, that's good to know. That I didn't know either. Good.
Yeah, cool. Coming on 4K in just a couple months. This one I won in a secret. Well, not won. I was sent this in a Secret Santa giveaway in a Facebook group, and this is Franco Nero in Enzo G. Castellari's Kioma. This is a German media book release of Kioma. Wow. How do you feel about Kioma, Howard?
Love it. I love it. That's it's amazing with the De Angelis brothers score. Yeah, incredible. No, that's great. I actually got to see that projected in Rome, which was pretty cool. And he's a great guy. I met him at the very, very end of the Fanta Festival when I was there. God knows, I won't even say how long ago anymore. But it was like it was like I don't know, 95 or 94.
I think that's what you said last time was 95. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like one of the. We did not expect to meet him at all, but it was at the last night of the festival, and he was there with his son Andrea, and we met them. We hung out with them for a while or a couple of hours. We each had our own bottle of champagne, which made everything really interesting too. But no, it was really fun. He's such a great guy, and that movie is, from the golden age. All his westerns are pretty amazing. Legitimately, it's not hyperbole. It's really, he does his own thing, his own way, and but that's great. I didn't know about that. I'm gonna have to hunt that down.
What's your favorite Franco Nero role?
Oh my God,
that's a big question. I know.
All right, well, this is where I get pies thrown at me. I really thought he was great in as Lancelot in Camelot.
Okay.
So you're not going to find a bigger close-up of Franco Nero on the screen. That's for sure. It was like 70 millimeter, and you could literally climb up the nose hairs from his nostrils. You're that close to him. but he was a fantastic Lancelot, But I love him in everything. I like, I love Quiet Place in the Country. That might be the most difficult role I think he could have asked to have tried to do it. He was incredible in that. So he's, that's interesting. I never think about that really, ranking the stars. But he's pretty across the board.
I mean, especially for a name like him. Yeah, The Visitor is a big one.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you're not saying
desktop, he's my desktop, my screen image, my desktop image with the golden hair. Yeah, he's great. That's my desktop screen.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so tonight, after announcements, we're going to be going over Howard's contributions for the year. I'll talk about some of mine real quick, but the big thing is you've done some pretty massive things this year for supplemental features, and not just the plethora of commentaries. A lot of people don't get the weight of some of the visual essays because when you do something for Arrow, it's just labeled as a visual essay by Howard S. Berger, and it's like, oh, here's a visual essay. No, some of these are like 45 plus minutes, and they are epics recorded with the stars from the films, properly researched, wonderfully edited, just absolutely incredible pieces. And I especially like Excalibur. We're going to dive into that one. And
oh my God.
Some of the other ones that you're proud of from this year.
Well, I mean, also judging from the critical thing, it's really humbling because you have no idea. You're hoping you're not sinking a project with your contributions, but Outland for Arrow really was that was just great. My producer on that, Neil Snowden, that he did this and he did he's in all the Arrow stuff that I've worked on mainly. I mean, I worked with I just did with another producer. I did Under Siege, which is coming up. I did a thing, but Neil is just an amazing curator, and he's as far as producers go, you can almost collaborate with him. You can get ideas off him. So he makes everything. It's just not like a gig. He's into it and he loves concepts, and so he's been wonderful. And I mean the stuff, we like everything we do, and especially whenever I work with Kevin Marr, my Destructible Man partner, who doesn't seem to get. It's weird. Like the critics writing the stuff, they always say me, and just because it's my voice, I think. But it's a lot of the visual essays. If it's not just me, it's in the credit as just me. Yeah. But sometimes it's just, we have it really pretty clearly marked that it's me and Kevin Marr. So I'm not gonna steal all credit for the some of the visual essays, but it's when it's the Flying Machiste brothers and when it's credited, pretty clearly, it's me and him. But we had a fun time. We were given really cool projects starting like this time last year. It was pretty funny. We did the Long Kiss Goodnight, and which was a favorite of ours, mainly because there's dummy deaths throughout the whole thing, and I'm sure people know already my affiliation with dummy deaths and film language. It's like they're hand in hand for me, so I can't get enough of dummy deaths, but. You even get a damn, reindeer in that one. A dummy reindeer. It was so great. But we did like a 40-minute thing, and it just sort of like went under the radar. I don't know if people there weren't that many Long Kiss Goodnight fans, but who knows. But the only time we saw it was this one review, one video review of it or something, it got so far as we're pretty tongue in cheek when we do stuff, and we mentioned just because it was Shane Black wrote it and Rennie Harlan did it, and they have a pretty potent sense of humor and they're very self-aware, and it was basically we took it like we thought it was pretty clear. It is a satire of these macho movies. I mean, every 2 minutes is another self-mocking comment in that movie about macho movies and things like that. So we mentioned phallic imagery, and we gave an example as a joke. And I think these you start reading the comments, and like these guys come out of the woodwork, the guy in the review hated the movie, didn't even listen, didn't even watch the rest of our video essay.
Right.
But he was going on about, like, you know, how it irks him when critics, you know, pull out phallic imagery, and I'm like, okay. It's like all these guys were just like, you know, like I'm really like bugged by phallic imagery. It was just the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I've never seen a response like that. But we were proud of that one. We thought it was a fun dissection of the movie. But that, you know, that was at the beginning of the year. I think that around this time, I remember when the fires in LA were going on.
Yeah.
So that we start, but all year we did another one, which we thought it was a lot, really, really good, a great movie. The Fernando De Leo, The Italian Connection for Radiance and Raro Radiance, and that was another one. You know, I think you can. Oh, they did not. Kino did not port it over on their release, so it's locked on the Raro release, the redo. And I would love to hear if anyone's ever seen it, what they thought, because critically it was underwritten, so we have no idea what people thought about that. You know, same thing with the Long Kiss Goodnight. It was just sort of under reviewed. Or you'll see a lot of these sites, they'll review the movie and the transfer, especially if it's 4K, but they won't get to. They'll just post the extras from.
They'll just list what's on there and never watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, wow, well, you know, we would love to hear, you know, good or bad, whatever. We'd love to hear what people thought of it, you know.
Yeah. Most of our contributions have never had a proper review on our end. I could probably
and that's
list
a shame,
all of
you're cranking out some great stuff lately. I mean, really, really great stuff. This whole year has been like, you know, you're apple of my eye. Very proud of you. No, really great stuff.
I appreciate that.
I also really enjoyed the thing we did together. Our first collab. I was really happy with what you did. I mean, I you know, this is the first time I ever didn't edit my own essay, which was weird to me. But no, I thought you did a fantastic job. I'm really you know, looking forward to do some, you know, doing, you know, more stuff. But Outland was. That to me was, you know, like an emotional thing almost, because it was, you know, like you said, I mean, I saw it. I was already going into, you know, I think high school. I was already in like high school. And so it was part, you know, it's been part of me, you know, these movies are just kind of get stuck in my head, and it's part of me for a long time. Yeah. And to try and, you know, to do the visual essay, Kevin Marr and myself, you know, we really, of course, the dummy deaths were plentiful, and they had great thematic resonance. And we always thought it was like, you know, even though the film was logically kind of, you know, cinema logic. In other words, it's a lot of things that, you know, it's sort of like what Dario Argento used to be argued against. Like, these plots are stupid. You know, they're stupid. Like, well, it's just kind of fun. You know, it's not taking itself too seriously, and the logic is leaps. It's trying to figure out how far you can push your power, you know, your cinematic power, if you can get away with making people believe in nonsense that just can't, things that just technically can't happen. But that's the fantasy of movies. So we really enjoyed this one. I mean, just from a thematic point of view, that was so much fun. And we're really proud of it. And the fact that I also, again, Neil let me talk to some people. I got to sit down with Peter Hyams, and that was pretty interesting, because, you know, there's a lot of, you know, he's a polarizing character sometimes, but he's, you know, luckily I'm not one of his crew, and I'm not one of, you know, I'm not working for him. Like, it was a pleasure to sit down with him finally, and he has such a great history that he hasn't spoke of. You know, I walked into his house, and we were sitting down just talking before doing the interview, and he starts talking about how he, you know, when he was, you know, just barely starting out, and he was in, you know, a room he met Richard Brooks, who did The Professionals and In Cold Blood, and I'm already like, okay, you got me at Richard Brooks automatically. Right. So I was, it's just wild to sit down. And also I got to talk for Excalibur. I got to meet Rospo Pallenberg, who was a prime collaborator of Borman for quite a few films. And it's, it's just cool that these guys don't live very far from me. I had a really good meetings with them. And, Excalibur and Outland, the two projects I think more than any, and Kevin and I got to do a great visual essay for that as well. We really, again, from our point of view, it was just so much we wanted to get out of our, focus on, get out of our chests. And we actually, we actually learned from doing these things, we did the research for it and just studying the film in a way we never really did before. So much fun. And they are damn good looking transfers. Again, I'll probably get, eggplants and pies thrown at me for saying it was a terrible transfer. I don't know. It looked great to me. I mean, I've watched these movies, half my life, and they're, I think this is the best that they've ever looked. But
we will dive deep into Excalibur and a couple others after the announcements. First, you got a couple compliments here. Paul in the chat says Howard's interview with Peter Hyams was amazing.
Thank you, sir.
And then,
we don't hear from anybody. This is great. I love that they can type in.
People care. People watch. The vid says Howard did a great job on the Terminal Man Arrow release. That's not one you hear much about.
That's another one. That was, again, it was like the beginning of this year. It was like right over the holidays. Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, that was, again, I would have to include that one. It's another one by Neil Snowden. Great curatorship, and it was just really an emotional thing. I knew both directors, Mike Hodges and the director of photography, both people, not directors, but Richard Klein. And that was, they were really special to me too. I mean, they, and I'm sure people who have met them also would probably parrot that it was definitely an emotional, they were really great people, and their vantage point and their learning and their work is just insane. It's just I get choked up just thinking. Richard Klein was like one of my best friends for a good 4 or 5 years before he passed away, and he was, I think, like 91 at that point, whatever. But he's an amazing guy, and he would come over every Tuesday and Thursday if he could, and we'd watch one of the movies that he shot. He never wanted to watch anything, he didn't even want to watch those. I had to pressure him to just sit down. I think he liked my dog. So that was the big thing, was he would, he liked coming over and just, being with the dog. But, thank you. I appreciate that. That's again, you don't really hear it. I don't know why. I guess maybe because there was no 4K of that one. And people, I guess are kind of hoping.
Maybe.
I don't know. Not every movie has elements that
Let's be even more clear. Most films will never have a 4K. Period.
Yeah, it's true.
And then our friend Rachel Belwar has a plea for you. Please, more Belmondo commentaries in 2026. Always great with you, Howard, along with Nathaniel Thompson and Steve Mitchell.
Rachel, thank you so much. She's great. I mean, I love her column in your mag. So I appreciate that, tremendously. That means a hell of a lot. Thank you so much. And there's more. Belmondo. I think I'm trying to remember. I think you may have covered the last of the recent Belmondos that we got. I just did a Lino Ventura. And I did, I'm trying to think, two Lino Venturas, but he was, I don't want to give I like, the reveals when this happens, but it's we're doing the Ventura cycle now, but thanks. I mean, that's great. And we don't hear So this is amazing that you that this is like people actually can actually
care, Howard.
2 seconds of what that they watched it.
Well, let's dive deep into some films. It's kind of the dead time of the year, so there's not a ton of announcements. So we'll get through these real quick, and then we'll get back to some of these contributions. The ones that we're covering tonight, there are some kind of big ones for what was announced. So we'll give some extra time to those. I'm curious how many of these that you have seen. I'm betting it's most of them. So very curious to hear your thoughts. Let's get to our first releases. These first two are from Deaf Crocodile, coming in January. This first one is from 1948, and it's the Czech film Krakatit, coming on 4K and Blu-ray combo pack. This is a astonishing sci-fi noir film. We get a new interview on this one with the archivist Teresa Frodlova from the Narodny Film Archive in Prague. New commentary by Peter Hames and Irina Kovarova from Comeback Company. New visual essay by Clayton Dillard from Someone's Favorite Productions. I've heard of that company, and it is a great visual essay. We've got a 60-page book, as always, in these deluxe edition Crocodile releases. And we've got an essay by Walt Shaw, essay by Jonathan Owen. The big thing for me, as far as this physical release on this, though, is the art here is gorgeous by Richard Cox. And if you are a subscriber or a member and you've got access to the members only section, they've got an exclusive version where the title is bolded in red. It's the only difference, so you don't got to worry about it too much. But it is a really beautiful box. Have you seen Krakatit, Howard?
Absolutely. In fact, I've been waiting for this. I knew you. It's like the minute I knew that Dennis Bartok announced he was doing this label years ago. I'm like, I was one of the ones. I'm praying, fingers tightly clenched that he actually gets to it. This is like one of those hideous little old torrent file discoveries. I got it because, Tit was in the title, so I had downloaded it. And it was much better than what I thought it was going to be. Wild movie. But again, it looked horrible. It looked like, like a Carillion photograph. It's like heat-sensitive photograph. It's like a 10th generation, it was like an old AVI file. Right. So, yeah, no, I'm psyched. I'm sure it will look stunning.
Oh yeah, and they're doing it in 4K too.
Yeah, amazing. But his extras, the people that he gets on there, are just they're the tops.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. And then another one that I believe you have seen. They're also releasing White Son of the Desert from 1970, one of the most famous Soviet Osterns or Red Westerns.
A lot of fun.
Is a very unique movie. Tell us about White Son of the Desert.
No, it's just a wide. It's like almost like a spaghetti western, a Russian spaghetti western. I saw that on when Ruskico was putting out DVDs. I guess when was that? Early 90s, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was one of the pretty close to, I think, one of the first ones that I actually bought from them. It's wild, a lot of fun. I think it appeals to kids a lot. I think it was very, very popular with the kids in Russia. And then it's one of the most popular still, like decades on, one of the most popular films ever released. Yeah. Great movie, a lot of fun. It's not a dreary, there's no, I mean, there are some, there's some moments, but it's just a great movie. A lot of really sort of new twists on like the Italian style. They're very foregrounded and rhythmic. It's one of those things where I have no idea how they actually go out and plan shoots like this. It just must have been, exhausting. I never would think that they would come out alive from a shoot like this, but it's great. It's good to hear that they're doing it. I'm glad.
It's a very funny movie too. There's a lot of comedy in this one.
Yeah.
Extras on this Blu-ray release, we've got a new commentary by Rolf Giesen, the film scholar. We got a new visual essay by Evan Chester. We got a new interview with Soviet filmmaker Sergei Lavrentiev. He is great in this interview. We've got a new restoration trailer, and then on the deluxe edition, you've got an essay by Peter Rollberg and an essay by Walt Shaw. great release. Love the artwork on the outside of the box here. It's by Stephen Thomas. Deaf Crocodile, some of the best art in the game. I will always say that. They got some great choices.
Well, again, Dennis Bartok, you couldn't have hoped for a better curator of these movies. These are really the truly under discussed thing, and he's really providing amazing education to everybody. And it is just I gotta pat that guy in the back, please, because seriously amazing effort that he's done, because it's not just he's acquiring it and doing the minimal. He's really finding the right people to talk, and lead you by the hand into a totally another brain set. It's just great. Thank you, Dennis.
Kind of speaking in the same way about Dennis, I'm going to digress for a real quick second and shout out Connor Holt, who's in the chat tonight, who's on the show, 5-6 weeks ago. Connor Holt does the Lord's work to promote the smallest theaters all across the U.S., most of them in L.A., and we're talking not even just theaters, like pop-up VHS festivals, swap meets that are focusing on film and physical media, things like that. Everybody should go follow VHS Spectacular on Instagram, and if you're still over on Twitter, follow him there. Connor does just some incredible enlightening work about just really cool people that don't ever get attention, and Connor is not followed by enough people. He is just a truly kind soul. So.
I think we just friended each other today. I'm so happy.
Nice.
I didn't even think, again, me, I if it pops up on my feed, then I'll look to see who it is. But I don't have enough. I haven't had enough time to go prowling around. But when he popped up, I'm like, oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, excellent.
All right, let's continue on with our announcements. Ben Wheatley, you probably recognize that name, a modern filmmaker. Over on March 2nd in the UK, we are getting a 4K Blu-ray combo release from Anti-Worlds. This is the sister company of Indicator. They are putting out Mistmantler from this year as part of their Anti-Worlds original line. This is a brand new Ben Wheatley film, and it's supposed to be very experimental. I'm kind of curious about this one. This says... it is a mind-bending sci-fi thriller in the tradition of Alphaville and Primer, but also a love letter to film writing and filmmaking in general. So you got a 4K and a Blu-ray disc in here. You got an exclusive overture film with new music by Dave Welder. And then there's an 8-panel digipack release with new artwork created by Ben Wheatley himself. Are you a Ben Wheatley guy? Have you seen much from him?
Yeah, I've only seen the wacky ones. I haven't seen. I know he's done some.
So all of them? I'm just kidding.
Some more mainstream stuff, but I haven't. I love Kill List, and I love Field in England, and In the Earth, I think it was called. Yeah, he's great. He's cool. Again, he takes a lot of chances. So.
I said the wrong title. Thanks, Brendan. This one's actually called Bulk, not Mistmantler. I apologize. Thanks, Brendan. That was a silly error when I'm literally staring at the title.
We won't paddle you tonight for it. That's okay.
Ah, damn. All right. That is Bulk by Ben Wheatley, and going to the next one. Or I'm just going to click off and do the wrong thing. Full Moon is having their holiday horror sale right now. They are going to be live until December 28th. If you are looking to buy, I will put a link to this in the chat. I really don't promote a lot of Full Moon stuff because let's just say Charles Band is not always in it for the right reasons. However, I've noticed there's a lot of people that have never heard of Full Moon before messaging me lately.
Really?
And so really, people getting into this stuff. And so I wanted to share when their stuff is easily the only cost-effective time to buy it, because you're not getting the highest quality stuff. But if you're going to get it on sale, please. It's a good time to get it. So check it out at the link if you want it. How do you feel about Full Moon stuff? You and I have never talked about Full Moon stuff at all.
No, again, I hate saying it. I have them. They're, but they haven't been watched yet. So I don't know. But I'm not gonna say, I prefer the European titles that they're putting out.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid my dues with the, I used to love things like Tourist Trap. I thought was great, and I thought David Schmoller
My
was
favorite from them.
He's definitely somebody, who had stuff on his mind and was, things like, and I loved Laser Blast. But once, starting with things like The Alchemist or whatever, it's really unfair of me to even talk about them because I saw them in probably a highly inebriated state back in the day on opening day. And I don't really remember much. So it's hard. I was in the proper, mindset, but I just don't remember them. So it's going to be, one of those times where when I celebrate like a week off at some point, I'm going to start going through all those things like hand over fist.
All the Trancers and Ginger Dead Man films. Got it. I will hold you to that.
Well, it's
next up.
Right?
Yeah. February 23rd, over in the UK, we are getting a Blu-ray from Central City Media of a brand new film called The Way We Talk from 2024. This says it is a soul-searching story about three friends, Wolf, Alan, and Sophie, who have different conditions of deafness. When Sophie graduates from the university and starts a new job, she realizes that she has been struggling to be seen as normal. Tensions grow between the three friends as they find themselves conflicting over how best to communicate with the world while remaining true to themselves. Now, this sounds good. I'm sure you've never seen it, Howard, because it's brand new.
Never heard of it.
But the main reason I want to highlight this, we got a commentary with the director, with Mr. Frank Jang. We don't get a lot of stuff that isn't like old school Hong Kong stuff. And he went and did this commentary live with the director. So this is cool. Wanted to highlight it. Sounds like a good movie. I kind of want to see this one.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I've never heard of it before. It's automatically on the list.
Yeah. Next, February 12th on Blu-ray over in the UK from Screenbound is the story of Skids, Scotland's #1 punk band. This is a brand new documentary. This will be limited to 1,000 copies. We've got a live in concert at Guildford, a double-sided poster, and a sticker sheet. Have you ever been super into punk music, Mr. Berger?
Yeah, that's my era. Yep.
How do you feel about the Skids?
Great. I have pretty much most everything they've done on vinyl. That's back in the, no, great. No, I again, and Screenbound's coming out with some great stuff lately. So a lot of these companies, I can't even believe there's more coming out of the woodwork. Some really great. I've never heard of half these companies now, but Screenbound's been doing some really good stuff this year. So I'm really, really glad to hear that they would care about something like this. I'm anxious to see it now.
All right, so that
the Skids rock.
The Skids. Next up, again, over in the UK, February 23rd. We'd already heard about this, but Vision's Home Video is releasing a 4K of Dogtooth. This is the Yorgos Lanthimos film Dogtooth. It will also get a Blu-ray release if you are not 4K. And this will have the brand new Dolby Vision 4K master supervised by Yorgos. Audio commentary with a couple of the stars from the film. Interview with Yorgos from 2009. There's an LFF screen talk from 2025. And then some deleted scenes and trailers. These releases, this will have a slipcover and 4 art cards and a poster, but that is it. I don't think there's going to be much different from the Kino release here in the States. So if you're in the UK, this will probably be the best way to buy it. But if you already got the Kino, probably not much of a reason to upgrade. It's probably not even an upgrade. It's probably about identical. Dogtooth, have you seen this one?
Haven't seen that one, but I like I like the director. He makes me laugh. He's disturbing. Yeah.
He's great, and this is the film that broke him into the scene. It did very well at festivals. Like Tyler in the chat is saying, I wish I got the hype. I get it. I like Dogtooth. It's not my favorite, although I know many people where Dogtooth is still their favorite Lanthimos film, which is, I don't know. He's made such great cinema since then. So I could not see picking that one.
Yeah, no, actually, who turned him on to me was Nathaniel Thompson, my frequent co-pilot with commentary. I mean, he's the one who just like handed over like the whole collection to me at one point. But I actually got through probably a good half hour. That's all I get a chance to do of Dogtooth. I was in love with it. It clicked with me. So I didn't know this was getting like a huge treatment now. So I'm looking forward to that. I love to see if the extras are much different from from country to country. I'm curious to see what they do with this one. Did they say did you say what extras are going to be on this or no?
Yeah, we get a commentary. The big thing is none of it is new. There's a screen talk from LFF Screen for 2025, and then the interview with Yorgos from 2009. But everything there, except for the scan, is all archival, or at least was on the Kino release. I think the 2025 talk was brand new to that Kino disc.
Cool. Oh.
All right. Next up is Genghis Khan from 1965, getting a Blu-ray release from Alliance Home Entertainment, which you may remember is the new name of Mill Creek, carrying that reputation into the storm. This is a fairly big one. Omar Sharif, Stephen Boyd. I'm sure this is one that you've seen at least 2 or 3 times. 100 times.
Right. Yeah. Yep. A great movie. It came. It's one of those things that was going in the wake of Lawrence of Arabia, and you have to have a taste for it because it's 1965, so I'm always careful with people who are expecting a very different look or something. People, nowadays they're and it's not a new movie anymore, but they're looking at like Gladiator as like the definition of an epic motion picture. And to me, that was like, I actually liked the movie. I didn't like it when I first saw it. Now, of course, I'm Ridley all the way. I even love the sequel, so I have my brain's been poisoned in a really good way, I think. But this is something I definitely would I watched this so many times as a kid, and family, we saw it. I was, post infancy. It was probably on a reissue. I think like a 1969 or 70 or 71, probably like a reissue in the theater. If it wasn't like a re-release, it was like, local theater had a print of it and they were showing to put it up with something else. But I remember seeing it, and but I've watched it 100 times since then. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's sort of like classic comic version of history. It's you just have to have a taste for that. Lawrence of Arabia, it introduced new language. That was cinema, but these other ones were sort of, and who did this again? It's this Henry Levitt, and I can't remember.
I am not sure
the director.
Offhand, and they're
the director.
1965,
right?
Let's 1965.
Henry Levin, yeah, I was right. And he did the Levin did the James Mason Journey to the Center of the Earth. So it has like British people playing Asians, and so you have to really not just British white people playing Asian. So there's always going to be something that's going to piss somebody off nowadays. Right. Just go, watch it with context. It's just a really fun adventure movie. So
well, speaking of that, they didn't even port over the extras from the Twilight Time release, which is kind of frustrating. I am happy to see that it's back in print at least. However, come on, there's already stuff out there. Give us some of the extras.
Seriously, especially anything to do with Julie Kurgo, for sure.
Yeah.
Give it a break. That I could listen to, and I have listened to her. I have watched things, listened to her commentary. I do not fall asleep during her commentaries, even though that's my preferred way of falling asleep is, sort of like, learning in the back, falling asleep and listening to someone tell you all the brilliant thoughts they have.
The dulcet tones of Eugenio Ercolani.
Yep. There's a few people. There's a few people out there.
Yeah. All right. Next
it's true. I agree with you.
Warner Archive is releasing on March 24th Collector's Vault Volume 2 of their Looney Tunes collection. Now, the big thing here, this stuff is always super confusing because they've got the Collector's Choice, Collector's Vault, they've got the Platinum Collection. What is happening? Okay, so the truth is, we've got 2 discs here, and the big thing is one of these discs have never been on Blu-ray or DVD ever. So it's the first time ever being on disc. And then the other disc, it's their first time ever remastered in HD. So you've got a good 50 shorts coming as part of this. And we can guarantee none of them have ever been on Blu-ray, remastered in HD at all. We can also see that these have never been on disc for half of them. That's a big deal. It is just nice to see these added to it and see that grow. I got to admit, though, it would be so nice just to see a full Looney Tunes collection released all at once so we don't have to drip these out over 9 years or whatever. Just give us, what is it going to be, a 43 disc set? I'll pay it. Just tell me what to pay. I will buy it.
All right. Well, they'll make sure that happens once you buy all the separate ones.
And the sad thing is, if I don't buy all of those, it will never exist.
There you go. I was just going to say. Yeah.
All right.
And so that's also, I think these will be uncut as well, which is good. I mean,
yes.
Because that's been happening. I've been watching things and things, I guess over the years, I don't know, social climates change. I don't know if they, what they do, but, or if they just can't get the elements. I don't know. But, this is just always something very tempting when they start really doing these beautiful, re-releases of these things.
Yeah, this is a must. Warner Archive Animation lately has been knocking it out of the park, so this is not even a hesitation for me. Next up, the brand new film Nuremberg from this year is getting a Sony Pictures release on February 10th. For some, it will be disappointing that it is Blu-ray and DVD only, not getting a 4K release. I thought this film was pretty wonderful. I expected to go into this and walk away disappointed, but I was surprised. I enjoyed a lot of the performances in this. The story, not surprising. We know how it ends. However, it is one that I think is important and gives some really great context to the history in a period where we need to hear about this history specifically.
Have not seen it. I've heard, back and forth. I think people want it. The critics that I read. And I try not to read reviews before I've seen the movie, but I think they say that they took liberties with the facts. But I think, judging from what I've seen and other people, especially what you just said, I think it's the point it's like like a Ken Russell film. History is distilled into drama, not documentary, and I think that it had to be sculpted for the overall point, which you're right is extremely important to remember and to make sure it doesn't happen again. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested in seeing this.
Probably the worst thing I can say about this one is there's some timeline whiplash. They really take their time leading up to the point of the courtroom trial where they show the film from the camps, and that video is very emotionally it's supposed to be heavy in that moment, but then everything after that moment is flying by, somebody's just running by you. So they took their time, they really contextualized all the characters, they showed the short film, and then zoom off to the races at the ending. But other than that, it's an interesting movie. I thought it was well done.
Is it a long film?
It's 2 hours 40 minutes, something like that.
Because Judgment at Nuremberg, the Stanley Kramer one, that was 3 hours and 15 minutes or something
like that. Yeah. And obviously, I don't know. Have things changed? I feel like there's always complaints about modern film being too long, and then you'll get 7 indie movies every week that are 83 minutes. So I don't know.
I couldn't care less as long as it's a fun movie.
Yeah, if it's great, it's great. I'm down for it.
I do not judge a movie on the length. I try to understand why it's that length. So that's just bring it on. It's fine.
I will be honest.
You're going to pay money for it. Give me something,
And usually the same amount of money. That's the funny part. I will say that the length sometimes dictates if I can watch it. I will admit to that.
Right. Well, I know that's my story at this point.
All right, so next month, Music Box Films on January 27th is releasing a Blu-ray and DVD of A Little Prayer from 2023, filmed by Angus McLaughlin, which is supposed to be really great with Jane Levy, David Strathairn, and Anna Camp in this one. And this is a heart-tugging drama about finding kindred spirits in unexpected places. You can pre-order this now. It is available. Next up, Air 4444. That is always a mouthful to say. They have announced that in 2026, they are releasing Blu-rays of 1988's City Warriors and 2000's Teenage Hooker Became a Killing Machine. If that is not a seductive enough title for you, man, do you have issues. Yeah, these both look and sound great, and I am very curious to check both of these out. Have you seen either one of these?
No, but they're on the queue now.
The Teenage Hooker movie, it says a high school girl who moonlights as a prostitute is revived as a killing machine after she is murdered by her teacher. Doesn't that just sound like I have to see that movie right now?
That's what it's there for. I'm glad there's some people there who know what we're waiting for. That's good.
Oh yeah, this is bound to be some people's favorite movie next year. All right, next. Speaking of Arrow Video and Warner Brothers projects, they just today finally confirmed that Mortal Kombat from 1995 is getting the deluxe 4K treatment. Are you working on a 3-hour dummy death visual essay for Mortal Kombat? If you are, just wink at the camera.
Not yet, but I might have to inquire.
Yeah, this is one that has been speculated for quite some time, and it's just nice to see a full confirmation about that. This is many people's favorite movie from their childhoods. I will admit, it is not mine. Did you ever see this one when it came out?
I think I have to confess. I think I actually walked out. I didn't instigate it, but I think the people that I was with, demanded that we leave. It's never me. I don't do that by practice.
I was going to say I don't think I would expect you to walk out of films. Is that something that you've done many times?
I've done it many times, but again, never on my instigation. I probably went back and finished it at some point, but I never got around to doing it with Mortal Kombat.
Well, maybe they will say, get over here so you can watch that one now.
You never know. I'm going to start asking questions.
Next up, we got some release details of the brand new release of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Howard's next favorite film. This is from this year, coming out on 4K Steelbook Standard, 4K Blu-ray, and DVD, because this is a money-making hit for Universal, even though this movie was straight garbage. I hated this movie. It was really terrible. There are going to be some extras on this. There's going to be revealing interviews and behind-the-scenes footage with the cast. There's going to be a stunt doubles and puppeteers featurette. There is going to be Mangle coming to life as nightmarish and multi-limbed monstrosity, the puppet in this. There's going to be a cast and crew revealing how the multiple methods used to turn the marionette into an eerie entity whose unique design and haunting movements are unlike any other animatronic. That kind of sounds interesting. And then a featurette called Sensory Overload, which, no thank you. This film was sensory overload enough.
Now you've intrigued me.
No, it's bad. This we keep harping on how bad AI is going to be. I swear the dialogue in this may have been written by AI because it is atrocious. There is nothing human sounding about the dialogue in this film.
See, it's terrible. You give these reviews like this, and now you've intrigued me so much that these are the next movies that I'm actually going to make time to watch. It's great.
Oh man, go watch Nuremberg instead. Next up, some that I've never heard of somehow, even though I've always loved Walton Goggins. But we've got two pieces here. April 7th, Blu-ray coming from Lightyear Entertainment of Randy and the Mob from 2007. This is directed and starring Ray McKinnon, and or I think he directs this. I'd have to check that. I may be wrong there. It might be a different name entirely, and I missed it. But this is freshly scanned in 4K from the original materials, and this is supposed to be pretty good. It's a mafia comedy. It will also include the Academy Award-winning The Accountant, which is a 40-minute short film starring Walton Goggins and Ray McKinnon. But also, on that same day, they are putting out a single disc release of just The Accountant as well. So if you want that and you don't want Randy the Mob, you can just pick that one up. But I love Walton Goggins, and I need to see these. I do wish that they had not poorly photoshopped Walton Goggins into this scene, because that looks really terrible for a cover. But I'm definitely curious about seeing these.
Never heard of him until now, but I love that cover. Yeah, it's perfect.
I had no idea Walton Goggins was an Oscar-winning short film from 2001, but I got to see it. All right, a film that Howard has seen at least 19 times, I'm sure. April 7th, the Russ Meyer Films estate is putting out Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, and sadly, they're not doing a damn thing with it. This is the exact same disc that has been floating around for a while. So it's nice that this will be easily accessible, but it's not newly scanned. There are no extras on it. I don't even think there's a menu on this. It literally just pops up and plays the film with a really terrible version of the movie. It's basically just like a DVD upscale, I believe, and not even a good one at that. How much do you enjoy Faster Pussycat Kill Kill?
No. Wait, no, it's amazing. I mean, it's most Russ Meyer until literally like the Pandora Peaks. I think I'd have to revisit again. I don't know. I don't even remember what I thought of that. I'm playing that much, but no, he's unique. He's just a master. He's, an incredible visual director, and he's very funny. Work with some really, really sharp people. So no, it's an amazing film. And if you don't notice the influence on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think you're just turning a blind eye. And it's a pretty influential film as well. But really funny and just really well done. I don't know how, it's like with Ken Russell. There's certain people where they could have absolutely no budget whatsoever, and actors who've never been in front of a camera, but they have them really working at like a level best, and always with a certain choreography that only they can do with actors. It's really crazy. Like the rhythms, it's like they're acted. You'd think they would be acted for the rhythms that he has in his editing. And I just don't understand how certain people get away with that. That's a pretty masterful movie. And it is a terrible shame because that film is, I think, pushing 60. Pushing 60 now, 60. I guess.
Yeah.
And the elements are not getting any better. So, it's a shame.
And the vid is saying this Blu-ray looks excellent. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say excellent, and I only say that based on what Severn has done for the other Russ Meyers that they did. They've put out 5 of them on 4K, and those are stunning. So just for anybody that's going to ask about this later, the big problem here is the Russ Meyer estate is saying that supposedly they are demanding like literally upwards of $1 million to license just this one movie, and I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. This film is never going to make $1 million, even though it's a great movie. No boutique could ever pay $1 million to put this out, because you would have to sell so many copies of this to make that up that it would just never happen. And even something like a Kickstarter would never be enough unless everybody that was willing to buy the Blu-ray that has already bought it would guarantee that they would donate like $400 each. It's just never going to happen.
Right.
So the only way I see this ever happening is if they drastically lower their price by literally like, I don't know, like 89%, something like that at absolute most, probably even more than that. Probably more like 93% is more realistic. Yeah, good movie, and great movie, but
great movie,
yeah. We deserve a better release with some contextual extras.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we are getting from Unearthed Films on April 7th a Blu-ray of Cradle of Fear, starring Danny Filth from the band Cradle of Filth. And that is probably the only reason this has ever been a relevant movie. This is going to be a 2-disc release. The first disc is going to have a making of Cradle of Fear. It's going to have a special German DVD making of for Cradle of Fear. There's an important words featurette, behind the scenes gallery, some trailers. But the big draw here for many people might be a short film collection that is attached to this by the director. We've got a short film called Chainsaw Scumfuck. Doesn't that sound amazing, Howard? There's a short called Bad Manner, Bad Karma, Drill Bit, Night Pastor, Bullshit News, Film Extremes 3 promo, Borderline, and then a shorts behind the scenes gallery and some trailers. That is all we've got.
I would give that a go. I like Cradle of Filth.
Adam says he's friends with the director. Nice.
Oh, cool.
All right. TB says Meyer State had a singular moment of clarity working with Severin, probably went back to being crazy. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They licensed those 5, even give us another 5 more. It's been more than a year, though, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Come on. We've got from VCI on April 21st, a double feature of The Crawling Hand and The Slime People. This is coming out as Creepy Creatures as a double feature. And what's crazy is they ported over all of the extras from the previous releases, including the Tom Weaver commentaries. And then this is going to have a slipcover on the first 1,500 units, which for VCI, that's wild. I have never seen either one of these, Howard.
Oh, they're great.
Love both
the movies
of them. Yeah.
are great. I don't know about the transfers. I have no idea even what the masters are like, or what's true. It wouldn't matter because both of these were, I think, when they were at their peak on TV, in like the 1970s, Saturday morning. They looked like they were shot on toilet paper, like printed on toilet paper. Very worse. It's part of the ambiance anyway, so I wouldn't go. Yeah. It would be great if they finally, but VCI, it's hit or miss. I really don't know. But both movies, I have to say, Crawling Hand is extremely disturbing. It's a really good, really, really good little, I guess, sci-fi horror film that I can recommend it. And Slime People, it's the same thing. It's just a great, early 60s Saturday morning, horror thing, matinee thing. So I'd be into at least checking it out. But again, I wouldn't get hopes too high technically. But I have no idea. I haven't really seen a VCI release in a long time, so I'm glad. So apparently these were released before, or I know they were on DVD. Yep. Didn't Rhino put them out on
that
DVD?
Sounds right. Yeah.
I think the Border Books used to sell them for $3.99 in the video area. I mean that I remember it looked good enough, but I don't know what these new transfers are going to be. But I would recommend the movies. Especially Crawling Hand, I think is pretty cool. Actually, very disturbing. Nice. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Next up, another Full Moon title, Mandroid, coming to Blu-ray for the first time ever on April 7th. This is going to have the original video zone on here, original trailer, and then a Full Moon features trailer compilation, I believe. This is going to include Robert Simons from The Exorcist, and Mandroid from '93. Have you not seen this one either?
No, come close a couple of times because the title is great. So
it is great,
but again, it's good to know it's coming.
Yay, Full Moon. Next up from this year, Lurker is coming on March 3rd on Blu-ray and DVD from Mubi. Sadly, no extras on this film. I will say I highly recommend this one. This is like a cringe superfan type of situation, and everything is awkward to the nth degree. The acting in this, though, is incredible. There's a couple people in this movie that seem like they have been their characters their entire lives, and it is just so well made. I appreciated this film a lot. I liked it enough when I left the theater, but this one has weighed on me all summer and into the fall. This is a great movie.
Cool. I haven't seen it, but on that recommendation alone.
These, I believe, that you have seen. March 3rd, we get a Blu-ray coming from Filmmasters called Monster Mayhem, and this is a collection of 4 films that have been recently out of print, and now you can get them all in one package on 2 pressed discs. We've got The Monster from Green Hell, Frankenstein's Daughter, Giant from the Unknown, and The Brain from Planet Arus. And this will bring on the commentaries that were on the previous releases, those with Tom Weaver and Gary Crutcher. We've got a couple other special productions, especially with Stephen R. Bissett, and then Ballyhoo Motion Pictures did a couple of things for this. Which of these is the best in your opinion?
These are all great. I mean, they're all great. But I actually have to say, and I love Filmmasters, so I loved working. I did a couple of things for them, too. But I honestly would have loved an opportunity to do Giant from the Unknown, because Kevin Marr and we actually were, it was one of those things where there is an amazing dummy death in that movie, but it's such an actually like sort of unintentionally intelligent film. Culturally, like it was just a smart movie, and Kevin had this absolutely brilliant deconstruction of it, and we were always, on the cusp of doing it, drawing out notes, but then something else would take over, and we would just. I really would have, had I even known they were doing this, I would have offered to do that deconstruction for them for that movie. Giant from the Unknown alone is just a really cool film. But these are all great movies. I mean, legitimately great movies. Like Brain from Planet Arus is. I mean, there's something incredibly memorable in all of them. So, I mean, it's from an era, and none of these movies were made to be critically assessed.
Right.
They were just churned out, which to me reveals a hell of a lot about the filmmakers, the people who write
Absolutely.
it. So I mean, you can say these are crap films, whatever your level is, but honestly, if you're interested in watching some unusually intelligent crap movies, I guess. I don't know what, it's just B, or DZ movie filler. These are the four really great ones. So, it's not, I definitely think it's probably a worthwhile purchase. It's great.
Headcoop says, Howard, you should do that as a commentary and put it on YouTube so that we can sync it up and watch the film with it.
I may just do the essay anyway and put it up. just finally now somebody might be watching it, so I figure, all right, I might just throw that up. But it's better. It's better as an essay because you got to hear Kevin's take is just genius. I mean, like it usually is, but this is really, to me, oh yeah, Giant from the Unknown. Though, love to hear what people think of that one. That's a great movie.
Well, we're not going to fly through these, but everything else tonight is all Filmmasters. So Howard and I have both worked with Filmmasters before. I respect the hell out of those guys. They put a lot of thought into what they're doing. A lot of their choices are public domain, and they're not getting like the best material, so keep that in mind. However, they are usually brand new 4K or 2K scans. Quite often they're not necessarily restored to what you would expect from like a boutique release. But the other big plus is most of these are quite inexpensive. So if any of these movies pique your interest, write them down. I believe you can look at their website and see rough date. For most of these, I've just got like a month that they're coming out. We don't even have a specific date yet, but we should be finding that out soon. So next up is The Black Six from 1973.
Oh, yay.
This is coming in a limited edition collection release here soon. No month, no date, no estimation or anything like that. This will have a commentary from Robert Kelly and Daniel Budnick, and that is it. These limited edition titles always have a slipcover, and then they've got a booklet with an essay. But that's all we know at the moment. This is interesting. I believe this was also unrestored, but it was also included on one of the AGFA releases over the last year. So nice to see this getting one that will have a nice restoration and a full release and with some contextual extras.
Great movie. Matt Simber, right?
I believe so, and I've never seen this one. This one sounds great.
Great movie. Yep.
Next up is Shirley Temple, coming on Blu-ray and DVD from Filmmasters in March in The Little Princess. This one is interesting because it is going to get a brand new 2K or 4K scan. We don't know which yet. There will not be any extras on it at all, but there will be subtitles. But the big thing is this was a Fox title, and this is now in the public domain. So that's the only reason they're able to even put this out. So this is like, if you want this on physical media, this may not happen much. So check out the Shirley Temple release.
It's actually a really good movie too. So I mean, it's not like, oh, Shirley Temple, why? I mean, give it, read a little bit about it, and I think it's that. To me, it's a shame there's no contextual info with it. That's a shame. There's no extras, but I think it's probably in the contract, whatever, the licensing contract. But great movie, good movie.
My big thing is, it's a shame that we're not going to ever get like most of the Shirley Temple releases and nice, big, extravagant restorations with a bunch of supplements, because they're important. They were huge films.
Of course, yeah, but time marches on, right?
It's true. Next up is The Snows of Kilimanjaro from 1952. This is coming in March on Blu-ray and DVD. This is the Gregory Peck and Susan Hayward film. Again, a 2K or 4K scan, and there will be no supplements, but you'll be able to get it on Blu-ray and DVD. Tell us about it, Howard.
No, just another great, really, really cool movie. I'm trying to remember who the director was. I think it was Henry King. It's the other Henry. There's Henry XI and there's Henry King. Henry King did a lot of the Gregory Peck 20th Century Fox stuff, and this was a big, if I'm right, this was a big Daryl Zanuck, big Daryl Zanuck production for that era. If there's one reason to see it, I mean, you have an amazing cast. If anyone's big fans of like Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the evil wizard in that, played by Torrin Thatcher, he's in this, and he's pretty memorable in this film. But the real reason to watch it is because the cinematographer of the Franklin Schaffner, the 68 Planet of the Apes, Leon Shamroy, shot it, and it is literally one of a kind. It's really great. So it's a shame there's no extras, because this film, of all things, would call for it. There's so many amazing people involved in this movie, but a great film. I don't think anyone would be disappointed unless it's just a mediocre transfer or something. But right. It's a wild, great, epic. And it's Hemingway, so you're already going to get something. Anytime a major studio tries to adapt Hemingway, especially in that era where Hemingway was actually still alive, pretty perverse. So there's a lot of cool juxtapositions between the source material and the actual film version. Great reason to watch it alone. Good film. Great film.
Another good reason to watch a movie is William Holden. William Holden is in 1940s Our Town, coming in March on Blu-ray and DVD from Filmmaster. Same thing, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements, but nice to see this come out. You look to hear by that.
Well, I mean, these are movies that when they come out, I kind of hope that I'd get some context for it finally. I love the people that are being asked to participate and share their knowledge, their research, and their own perceptions. We're getting some really, really good people in the past, especially in the past year, surfacing up. So it's just a shame, but the movie good enough. Let's get a great version of the movie, and then I can always go do my own research. Good film.
We got another one of those coming from 1936's Dancing Pirate. This is coming in March on Blu-ray and DVD. Same thing, no supplements, 2K or 4K scan. We'll figure that out eventually. There will be subtitles. This is the first dancing musical in 100% new Technicolor, as advertised on the cover.
Wow. Well, maybe sometimes that's all you need, but Dancing Pirates, no context, it hurts. I want
no context, just dancing.
I would love just the film on one disc and 3 discs of just context for that one. I've never heard of this thing, so I am very excited
Wow.
about.
Amazing. Next up is The North Star. This is coming in March on Blu-ray and DVD. This is from 1943. It says, a Ukrainian village must suddenly contend with the Nazi invasion of June 1941, later re-edited and released as Armored Attack. This one, again, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements, but it will have subtitles. That is all we got. Have you seen this one?
I think I have seen it under Armored Attack, which might have been, I don't know if that's a slightly different version. I'm not sure, but it's Lewis Milestone. So I've been, I've definitely been a fan of, and it's weird to think, I don't know. I mean, it's shot by one of the greatest cinematographers. I know everyone's one of the greatest cinematographers of all time back then, but James Wong Howe, who shot John Frankenheimer's Seconds, and he shot the Molly Maguires. And if anyone, I did the commentary and the extra for the imprint version of the Molly Maguires.
Great disc.
Thank you. If anyone wants to understand where James Wong Howe ended up, my God, not far from where he started off. This guy was just like innovator out of the gate. When one of the very few Asian cinematographers who got the prestige treatment in Hollywood. He's just an innovator and brilliant. But the movie is another one of these movies, man. I mean, it's just like you got just a brilliant group of people making this thing. So I mean, 100. I would definitely, I mean, Lewis Milestone. He did, on All Quiet on the Western Front, the 1930s version. He did. Well, I think it was probably mainly directed by Marlon Brando, but Brando's Mutiny on the Bounty, but he's done some amazing movies. So I'd definitely give it a shot, especially it's such a rare title. I mean, it really isn't, never, you don't really hear about this, but it's a cool film.
You shouted it out, so I'll give it another moment in the sun here. But The Molly Maguires is a film that I just on the surface of it was not super interested in. Took a chance on it, ended up loving that movie. There are so many compelling moments, and then the way that they shoot, like these fucking explosions in this movie, look so great. Yeah,
I mean, especially if you're stoned. I mean, this is Martin Ritt, who did, Casey's Shadow and Norma Ray. Very socially conscious, and this movie is very socially conscious. But Walter Bernstein, who was blacklisted, brilliant writer, was blacklisted for years in the 50s and was, coming out of that blacklist, like 1970s, the end of the 60s. He wrote the script for it, very hands-on with the production. And Martin Ritt is just a brilliant even though he has always been highly rated, he's underrated or under-discussed. I mean, it's sort of like he was from that period of time in the 50s and 60s with, these kind of movies. He came up around the same time as Sidney Lumet. But this movie showed that he, working very closely, with Bernstein, Molly Maguires is just a really cinematic film. It has a great script, good, but a brilliant structure that definitely goes in and out of really truly poetic cinema. Great movie. And if you are even slightly buzzed, you'll be thanking stars for natural chemicals. It's really fantastic, trippy movie, a really trippy movie, but a great and incredible. I mean, really, the dynamics of the cast. Late Samantha Eggar, can't believe she passed away this year from The Brood. The mama from The Brood, she's amazing. But Richard Harris and Sean Connery
Sean Connery's great.
loggerheads, and the whole cast. Anthony Zerbe, if anyone's an Anthony Zerbe fan, I was lucky enough to do a phone interview with him. He was a lovely guy. I'm pretty frank about stuff. It was a little featurette that I did for that disc as well as the commentary, but really great movie. So I'm glad there's a champion of that out there. I appreciate that. Ryan, that's great that it hooked you. Great movie.
It was a good one. Sean Connery was great in it. All right, next up. This film has been released 872,000 times. Coming in March on Blu-ray and DVD from Filmmasters is Reefer Madness from 1936. Again, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements, but it will be out there and there will be subtitles. Everybody's heard of this one. Most people have probably seen clips from this one. We don't need to dive too much into this, but I love that we cover this right after Howard says, "Get buzzed and watch the Required." Next up, Anime Wong's Bombs Over Burma from 1942. This is coming in February as part of the same collection. So again, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements. It will be subtitled. Anime Wong is kind of incredible.
Fuego. I mean, she's on fire. Yeah.
I've not seen this one. I need to see this one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I had seen. I think I saw this from literally, or God, it must have been like one of my first months, like in freshman year of college, and we were invited over to someone's house who had a print of this, and he was an Anime Wong fanatic, and we saw a bunch of her stuff, and it was really pushing the limit of censorship at the time. So I don't remember specifics about the movie, but I do remember that we loved everything we watched. It was all magical.
I love a review like that. It was good. Don't remember anything about it, but it was good.
It's the crime of just getting older
and watching
and having
14
watched
billion movies.
You know, when you were younger, completely stoned. So you know.
Yep, Reefer Madness, folks. Next up, The Black Raven from 1943, coming in February as part of that line. Same thing, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements, and I know nothing about this one. Is this film you know?
The Black Raven, I'm just checking to see if it's the one that I do know. Let me see.
George Zucca, Wanda McKay, and it says one dark and stormy night, an escaped convict.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's weird. It's a little hybrid. It's like it's a lot like The Raven. It's like The Black Raven. It's one of those things that just sort of like they didn't want to. This is like Poverty Row production, you know. So George Zucco is amazing as always. This guy was. If no one's familiar with him, this is what's in my head. Everyone knows what I know or experience what I experienced, and I'm like, wow. I'm realizing that they don't have the venue, the outlets to see these type of things anymore. Maybe YouTube has taken over, Saturday afternoon TV stations like syndicated. I don't know, but Black Raven, from it's not one of the ones that got heavy attention, but George Zucco is he was from like The Flying Serpent, and I mean he's some Universal stuff. He's a good villain, but was a really sharp actor, really cool. So anything he ever did was great. Sam Newfield is also pretty cool, the director, which I really like. But there are not just mystery elements or thriller elements, but there's some horror elements in this. It's only like, is it even an hour long? I don't even know if it's an hour long, but great that it's coming out. From my 5 or 6 year old viewing of it, because it's not a common one. That's why I think it's great. I would definitely, I would jump at this one. It's better than what you would imagine. From what I remember thinking it was pretty cool, but it didn't get the play that some of these other ones did.
Of course. All right, last up for the entire week, already done with the announcements. We've got, in January, a Blu-ray and DVD coming of The Second Woman from 1950. This is a Robert Young and Betsy Drake film. Again, 2K or 4K scan, no supplements, will be subtitled. This one says, in flashback from a Rebecca-style beginning, Ellen Foster, visiting her aunt on the California coast, meets neighbor Jeff Colin? Let's not call him Colin. That sounds funny. And his ultra-modern cliff-top house. Ellen is strongly attracted to Jeff, who's being plagued by unexplainable accidents, major and minor, bad luck, persecution, or paranoia. Warned that Jeff could be dangerous, Ellen fears that he's in danger as the menacing atmosphere darkens.
Great. I've never seen it, but it sounds perfect.
As a 1950 film, I'm kind of surprised.
I can only hope there's a dummy death. This sounds perfect for it.
Honestly, it really does, especially for that time. Oh yeah.
No, any kind of synopsis like that, it's like that's not even. You say no more. I'm there. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right. Next week, just in case you forgot, it is the last welcome new release Tuesday of the year, which means it's kind of a black hole. There's not a lot of huge stuff coming out. Most of the stuff listed here, is Vinegar Syndrome and OCN releases that are coming out for this month. All the partner labels, but we do have a handful of things like Breakdown on 4K coming from Paramount as their standard 4K release outside of that box set. This does have the TerraVision titles listed here. Student Bodies is not shipping this week. Gatorbait not shipping this week. Their others are not shipping this week. Digimon the movie is coming out from Discotheque this week for sure. We've got a couple others here. Hide and Go Shriek not shipping this week for sure. Last Screening not shipping this week. Happy Hell Night not shipping this week. Hannah K from Kino Lorber, Good Night and Good Luck, the Clooney film. That one is coming out this next week. City Hunter also coming from Discotheque. That is the complete second series, I believe. Challenge of the Lady Ninja from Air 4444 should be shipping semi-soon. They did post that those were delayed. Same with the Art of the Devil 1 through 3 and Nami collection. Beast Wishes is a documentary that I need. That one will be shipping this week. I've got that one pre-ordered. Long Live the King, another documentary coming out from Anchor Bay as well. But that is it for this month. Wow. Not this month, this next week. Not a lot coming out, thankfully. You can rest for the week following Christmas. But that's all we got for announcements, Howard.
Wow. Hannah K is worth it. I love Costa Gavras did Z. So he loves did an amazing movie, which I don't believe has been distributed in the States yet, called Shock Troops from, I guess, like 1967. And he also did another amazing, I think it was his first film, I forgot what it was called, like the Sleeping Car Murders. That's what it was. Very tongue-in-cheek, very stylish, cinematic, very whodunit that he did in like 1965-ish or something, 66. Another good one. But Hannah K is also, it's a later movie with Jill Clayburgh, who's brilliant, but I'll endorse this one completely. It has it's one of these moral examinations of a at the time a timely situation. I guess it's pretty timely now too. Only it's gone far worse. A Middle East plot, intricacies. I think it's a courtroom drama, but a great movie. Really, really cool film and an interesting discussion. But Kino, good. I'm glad they're doing it. It's in good hands. Good.
Solid from Kino. All right, we're going to talk about some of Howard's contributions. I might pepper in some of my feelings for that in there as well. But my big thing is, we're going through these, if you have any questions for Howard, please post them in the chat and I will ask. I'd love to get more interaction on this part because, again, a lot of people that work on supplements, there's not a lot of feedback. There's not a lot of discourse on them. There's not a lot of discussion on what goes into them. So, I don't think we even covered this the first time that, like years ago, that you and I chatted. What do you look for in a good supplemental feature, Howard? What is your favorite type of supplemental feature?
Just some kind of personality from the people who make it. That's honestly, it's funny you asked this because I was just talking to a couple of people about this, and I always thought it was great. The first thing I ever went for when I was watching a disc is if there were interviews. I hadn't even, visual essays were, that always seemed like a totally separate thing to me, but interviews. And I kept noticing that even though I was interested in the person and in what he was or she was saying, I would lose interest kind of quickly. And I went back and I started watching. This is why I don't get really time to watch features that much lately. I'm really watching a lot of older extras and to see what I've missed in terms of the person who was conducting the interview or editing the interview. And I noticed a lot of things, and I wonder what you think of this. I see like a lot of interviews they're either done like a junk, how they do it for the junket interviews with like the little the back, like a little backdrop set built or something, and it's always like a colorful lighting, whatever. But then it's never like they don't really go into. Maybe this is because of the company having their having the lawyers go through the tapes. That's always possible, but it's never. It's always like about just the film, so I never get to know really who is talking. It's always like a guy who showed up on set, and it's like it could be the greatest cinematographer or the greatest director, but somehow I a lot of these things really didn't reveal much. It just seemed so hermetically sealed. And do you ever notice that sometimes when they have like they'll have a second camera, usually like an iPhone or something, so it doesn't quite match the camera anyway. I mean, it's like the footage just doesn't quite, but it'll just cut to like a side view, and that always kind of throws me. That I lose focus quickly because they're not talking to you anymore. They're like suddenly they're cutting to like a side shot. And I've been noticing how much that really bugs the hell out of me lately. I'm kind of fascinated with like Zoom conversations or, filmed Zoom conversations or something more direct where they're actually looking at you as opposed to just answering questions. So I kind of like seeing that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that with the?
Yeah, I had to edit one of these for an upcoming release from Imprint recently that did that, and the main reason was when they set up coverage, the room that they were interviewing in was so small. The what would be the normal B camera was literally almost like a side view of the face, and the reality is you're paying for that. You should use it at least a little bit. So I didn't overly use it, but it I don't know. I do. One of the big things I do like is keeping the viewer engaged. And a lot of people nowadays just changing the angle does that. But also, of course, using like clips from the film or just showing footage while they speak is big for that a lot of the time. So it's nice to see some coverage. But the Zoom interviews, I don't know. It depends. Like, if Deaf Crocodile, for instance, they're interviewing somebody from Moscow, we can't really call in a studio and get them in a studio. I get that, but a Zoom one makes sense there. If they're in LA, I don't want Shout Factory doing a Zoom interview with somebody else who's in LA. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes the smallest little thing, but if I start like not paying attention to someone who I'm naturally interested in, and also I just like to know. I like to get to know the person and his attitude or her attitude towards their career or what their career was. I just had the privilege of doing, and it may not be. This may not be everyone's taste, but I'm just saying. You asked me, so this is my take. I had a Zoom conversation, and it was in, like you said, it was in Spain. It was done. They were in Spain. It was Peter McDonald, who was like the greatest second, assistant, the second camera and cameraman. I mean, my whole childhood, all these British movies, these which were almost, you could consider them almost, experimental, in a way. He used to be Jeffrey Unsworth's cameraman, and then ultimately he went on. He directed. Ultimately, did like his own. He directed his own films. He directed like Neverending Story 3, I think, or 2 or 3. I think 3, and he also did like Rambo. The third one, the Rambo 3, and he did some, Jean-Claude Van Damme things. An amazing, but he was camera on Cabaret, and he did work with Unsworth on 2001, and he was, I was so fortunate to set up a Zoom interview with him, and he was so magnetic to me. It was like a gift that he, the fact that he just gave up the truth about working with some of the greatest people, Richard Lester, Basil Dearden. I mean, like the people that he was listing off and discussing about his approach to things and anecdotes working with certain stars. There's a great bit about Oliver Reed. And this is all leading up to his work on Zardoz and Excalibur. So it was a 4.5-hour conversation. Jesus. And I was glued. I just couldn't even. I had to cut it down. It was painful. I had to cut it down to, I didn't want to shortchange anyone, but I wanted people to know him the way he let me know him, which is just wonderful. And he's got a great sense of humor and an amazing raconteur and a life that you just, it was working in film, not on digital video. And he helped create, innovate a lot of things that people are still struggling to replicate on digital video, and but I cut it down to like 75 minutes. Jeez. And it's still, I wanted to go further with it because the stories that I had to cut out were just like almost criminal that I had to cut it out. But I want people to know this guy. I mean, right. He's a lovely guy, but they don't have the same. They didn't grow up. A lot of these people didn't grow up with him the way I grew up with him. Just seeing the name over and over again from when I was a little kid, straight through all these movies that were like my favorite films that were just on TV. I grew up with him, so that I like the fact that we had to do it over Zoom because he was really he knew how to use the laptop lens to act to his performance as well. It was just great, and he was just great. It's the most fun I've had doing an interview in a long time.
Let's dive deep on Excalibur. We got two real quick comments before we go into that. One, Terry Talks Movie says, I want to see interviews where the stars sit in a pub getting pissed with the interviewer. And this totally reminds me, this last year we got Joe Bob Briggs for Sledgehammer, and he was exhausted, literally in a bar, and we go to shoot, and then suddenly he's just on. The dude is like, it was filmed during the weekend of a convention, and so he was just beat already, but he was just immediately on as soon as we started filming. And then the other one, Robert Hubbard says, hello, Howard, big fan of the Terminal Man features on the Arrow disc and your commentary with Howard Thompson. I think we mean Nathaniel Thompson on the Big Bus.
Steve Mitchell was with me.
Mitchell on that one. The Big Bus, not another one that we hear. That's nice. Bus.
That was Nathaniel, sure.
Yeah. All right. Excalibur. Why 4.5 hours is a long interview. Does Arrow, I don't think you've told me this yet. Did they dictate how long it could be, or did you just say, this is what it is, I'm turning it in, and it's 75 minutes, so good luck?
I think usually Arrow has no compunctions, unless they tell me. That I haven't been told yet. I mean, I asked. I said, "Look, I'm cutting this down from 4.5." And as I got into the, watching it and listening to it, making my notes, I didn't want it to bloat. It's not bloat, but it was all amazing and really. I can't tell you how funny some of the stuff was, and it's a shame, but it was. I did have to tell them. I said when I got the cut. I said, I brought it down to 75. I could go more, I could go less. They said if you could go as long as you need to, as long as it's interesting. But then I realized, all right, what's going to be maybe a criticism is that I thought this was going to be only about the production of Excalibur. And it wasn't. I mean, I never promised that. I want people to know Peter McDonald. That's my concern. And why his work on Zardoz and Excalibur aren't the same thing. It's not a technician showing up on set. I wanted them to follow it like he followed it, like his career through his eyes. So to me, it's just like one person telling you an epic. And, I illustrate it. I use clips and I use B-roll and stuff. But I really they've never given me a problem. I did another thing which, for one reason or another, didn't end up, where it wanted to be, but it was another, turned out to be like a 75-minute visual essay.
I know which one.
And it moved quick. Like no one said anything, but
it was great.
But I'm not at liberty to say what it was or what it was for. But I would have, and I probably am going to, since it's reverted back to me, I probably would add another half hour to it, only because I personally was never told to keep it down, but there's things about length that I think, if it's pertinent, it may not be in every, viewer's capacity to remain interested in an essay, but I'm not, I can only do it from my point of view. If I have something that I think needs to be discussed that hasn't been discussed, or needs to be heard that hasn't been heard, I'm going to try and do my best to keep it pertinent. I'm not thinking about running time. I know a lot of people have, look, there's some brilliant 3-hour movies, but people have they have problems with running time even of great movies, so. I it's an interesting question. How do you deal with it? Have you ever had something, truly epic that was just like, no, can't do this? Or
the only thing that I've had that was close to that is we were told one time that a disc only had just over 10 minutes of available space on it that we could make. So we went into a project knowing that it could only be 10 minutes. And that was tough considering what we had written, and then editing down to that point. It was like chock. There's no rest in that piece. Right. It was chock full from second one until end of the credits. And so it was, it was rough. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. I think even the thing that we did together for The Ugly, was that a full half hour, or was that 20?
No, it was around 18 to 20, I think.
It was 18 to 20.
Let's talk about that one. So The Ugly is coming from Unearthed Films. It has not been released yet. I believe that's coming next month or February. The Ugly, how'd you feel about that and putting this piece together with somebody editing for you for the first time like this?
I trusted you. I tried to not guide that much, but I hope I gave, in the way I wrote it, I figured, let's see where you take it. We never have enough time. Especially when you get to the editing stage, it is really sometimes you're usually juggling 2 other projects and you're on a almost 20-hour schedule sometimes. And sometimes, so I kept going like, I hope I'm not complicating this for him. I'm so sympathetic to it. How I feel about doing it myself but I had a complete trust doing it. I just was hoping that I wasn't unclear, or I wasn't making my thing. There's so much to go over with The Ugly. There's so many antecedents that and it plays with it. Like, you think, oh, that's such a cliche, but then I would watch it for like the third time, and I go, something. Very possible that he's doing some subversive twists to a lot of these tropes that have been accepted in that genre, and I like that. There's another movie that Nathaniel Thompson, who I'm glad ended up doing commentary for the disc. He was the one who he wasn't attached to it yet when we were working on it originally, and I was so happy because he's the guy who introduced the movie to me. He was saying, "Oh no, it's a great movie. It's a great movie," and I go, "Okay, well, I'm psyched. I'll watch it." And it was an unusual film for me, but I really liked the fact that there was, I thought, some very interesting subversive thematic twists to this movie, and I thought I thought you did a great job with it. But I really, I enjoyed the movie tremendously, and not a lot of people have actually heard of it. That was another one. Am I wrong? It was like a big VHS thing. I think people saw it when it was on like VHS and their in the video stores.
Yeah, it's like a mom and pop video store title. It came out late '90s. Not a ton of fanfare or anything like that, but it's shockingly good for when it came out and for not being a huge movie. It's well acted, unique idea, fun movie. Yeah. It's shot pretty well. I truly like The Ugly quite a bit,
and it's tricky. It's a tricky film. It's not like you think there, at least the way I took it is that I would think there was a cliche, and that's a bad word, but a cliche or a very recycled, trope to that thing. And then just watching it, I'm like, no, he's doing something else, he's doing something new. So we tried to incorporate that, and I guess 20 minutes. I really thought it was like longer. That's good to know. Did you have to chop a lot down? I don't remember.
No, not a lot. There's just not a lot of there's not a lot of fluff from the for many of these. When it's 30 minutes, it might only be like 21 minutes of essay and about 9 minutes of film footage. There's not a lot of just film footage because the way that we did the essay, it's not a lot of that. It's a lot of just focus on what inspired this, what came from it, and what the film itself means, because there's a lot of layers to the movie. Yeah.
Good to know. Again, I can't wait till people see it, but I hope people respond so we can, get some feedback too. I mean, it's always good to hear feedback. Might not change what we do at all in the future, but at least we get an idea of what it's coming across like.
But you got a question. Ragnar wants to know what made you want to be on physical media to begin with. Is there something that made you want to speak on these films to be on the disc?
I've always just loved this whole environment of physical media. But it was Nathaniel Thompson who invited me. I'd go over to his place. We'd watch a ton of stuff, and but then he was doing stuff with Image DVD way earlier, But he invited me to do. I think the first one we ever did was Trouble Man on Kino. And then it started snowballing. We were getting titles that was great, like Phil Carlson's Framed and things like that. And I was like, wow. So it was really, I owe it to Nathaniel. Also, Callum Waddle, when he was with Arrow, long time ago.
Long time ago.
Very long time ago. But he also started asking me to be a talking head. And I'm like, really? You serious? But so, so I had, a lot of really cool, movies through that. But I just love, that's the first thing I go to is the extras on the, on the DVDs, the Blu-rays. I've always just been, I've always been interested in the personality of the artist, of who did it. And like I said, some of them really capture it. And some of them, I like a lot of, I like the fat, I like the creative fat. I like to know who worked on this, not just that they showed up and this is the story on the set. It really it doesn't really, I've worked on movies. It doesn't really, it's not that interesting to me. What's interesting is not the backstage, but they created something, it's like,
how did we get here?
They had to have a hive mind. They had to have a collective amoebic, mind for a while. And that fascinates me so much. And what I'm happy about is it looks like in the last 2 or 3 years in particular, forget about the last 10, but in the last 2 or 3, with all these boutique labels finding a voice and trying, at least giving it themselves a chance to try something, to show something that hasn't been explored yet. It's cool. There's a lot of approaches to film and history. I mean, look at Deaf Crocodile. I'm learning a hell of a lot of history that I never would have known. It's
Speaking of finding their voice, I've always wanted to ask you this, because you have a very specific style when you, especially visual essays, when you're not just interviewing but doing a full out essay. You know what you're setting out to say. You know that you've got a central thesis that you're always coming back to. Do you approach these differently for different companies? Is there a different feeling when you're doing one for Arrow as opposed to Filmmasters? Because Arrow is a very mainstream audience type of company, and Filmmasters might be a little more, I don't want to say like pinky in the air condescending, but more like these people might pay a little more attention to the craft of like B movies type of feeling.
It's more film by film, not company by company. It's funny you say that, but no, and I don't even know, like, it just becomes, because when I'm working with Kevin, when Kevin's my co-writer or writer, I mean, he, I throw out whatever I can sometimes with him, but he's the master, and
the driver.
I have to sort of find the voice that he has, and it's sometimes inadvertently, I'm not going to say facetious or sarcastic, but that's not. There's no contempt in it at all. It's just I have to find the right, voice for it. I guess I don't think about it. I hate hearing my own voice. So it drives me crazy, and sometimes I'll change it. I'll pitch shift it, so I sound a little bit, I don't know. It's like what Keanu Reeves tries to do with his voice when he's making movies, talking like this. Like, I try to do the same thing. I'll like pitch shift it, so I'm a little bit slower. I talk fast, so I don't know. But that's why I like to edit my own things, clean it up my own way.
Interesting. I had no idea that you pitch shifted.
And I didn't think that Arrow was terribly mainstream, but I guess they balance it. I mean, they went corporate, so that they're balancing. I think they're doing a really good job, even with the films that I don't know. See, I don't know what people expect from companies.
Well, and that's the thing. Their choices aren't necessarily mainstream down the aisle films, because like right now, Save the Green Planet, you could argue is not mainstream, but they're even doing things like the samurai trilogies from the 60s. Nobody else is putting out stuff like that except for maybe Radiance. But the big thing is Arrow purchasers are the mainstream. Like, other than Criterion, Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow are the ones that many people could name. And people like Film Masters, most people in their right mind, even in this hobby, would not name Film Masters if you asked them to list 25 boutiques. That's just not a title that would come up.
Right. Eventually, maybe. We'll see. I mean, I enjoyed what I did with them. They were very open to whatever we were doing. We did the Burt Gordon Tormented. And we did the Terror, which was a long piece too.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the Terror. Imprint has a totally different vibe to it. I think they like as much thematic as they do technical, especially in the visual essays. They've been very, very embracing to me and people like Daniel Kramer, who we really want to get. If we see an idea that has been under discussed, we'll go for it. We'll try and do it, to the best we can, as articulate as we can, do it. But it's interesting. I never thought about that label by label, like what is sort of a tone for the label. Yeah, no, it's usually just film by film. Like I said, we could do something like last Long Kiss Goodnight, and it would be a little bit, in the flavor of the film, a little, I had done one for Tough Guys Don't Dance, and it was rejected by MGM because of the tone. And I'm like, what, the tone of what? Norman Mailer's tone? And we were only doing it up to Norman Mailer, we were trying to figure, and I think there's a lot of revelations there that still have not been discussed about him either as a director or an author. But that's something, again, I own it now. I'll probably put it up somewhere at some point. If it doesn't get taken for another, if someone else doesn't end up handling it and can, I don't know what MGM's like now. That could be different now. So for all I know, it's sad. It's too bad. But like with Excalibur and Outland, again, I'm dealing with Neil Snowden, who is really. He just is. He entices you. He allows you to explore something that isn't just by rote at this point. So Borman, I had to realize John Borman. A lot of people don't know who he is. Like a lot of people, it's so shocking to me because I for a while, maybe up. Now I can't believe it's over 20 years ago now, but like even in the 90s, which I think is still yesterday, John Borman was still a viable, he had a history like Deliverance, and Zardoz wasn't so ridiculed as it is now. I mean, Zardoz people think is a bad movie, and they talk about I understand gripes with Exorcist 2, but I used to say it's a terrible Exorcist sequel, but it's a great John Borman movie. That's why I think it's great that they're so indulgent and they want people to have a voice. Like David Kittredge, I can't wait to see his documentary on Exorcist 2, because there's a perspective, and within his own perspective, he's getting other people to help sort of navigate through the strange waterway of critical thinking towards that particular film and that director. So I love what Neil was doing with Excalibur, because he loves the movie. I mean, he's really passionate, but he has an incredibly open mind, and he's very eclectic on his own. And to see that enthusiasm come across to the in his curatorship to edit the visual essay, I was doing it for him. I was looking forward to at least stating, Kevin and my case, and see how he responds. So he's an exemplary, producer in that respect. I think it's really important is to, that your producer, if he can be, or if she can be, is a little bit involved in the discussion and before you sit down and cut. It hasn't always worked out that way. I mean, not that the producer's been bad or anything like that, but it's just sometimes that they themselves are overworked and they have a huge, so they can only spend so much time in discussion or planning or whatever. Things can go south. But so things like in the Australian discs are usually great because you can get away with a lot. Their laws of B-roll, of using clips. They have a fair use law that they can apply. England is the opposite. It's really rough to try and stretch. You have to get if it's a Warner Brothers disc, and then it's up to Warner Brothers. I can use Warner titles, things like that, or Universal, same thing. You can use Universal titles generally, but I like that the ones that really stayed with me, the Terminal Man, even the Shootist, those from last year, the year before, but Neil was just such a great launch pad for ideas and things that I like. I just feel like I know who I'm trying to shape it for. I'll get feedback, So, but I loved the Pallenberg piece. On Excalibur, I mean, we're dealing with a lot of people. I mean, Borman is in his 90s, and the health is just not the same. I mean, it happened. Right. It happens quick, and so I know Jonathan Zorin did a really great job, getting the most out of him. And then his son Charlie, who, of course, if you're in the Borman family, you've probably had to do either appear before the camera for their father, or they, I know Telsha, his late daughter, she was like his assistant director. So it's really cool to find out about the family unit, and the idea of what I did was, when I interviewed Roscoe Pallenberg, who is, I think now he's either just turned 90 or he's turning 90, he's younger than Borman, believe it or not. I mean, but still that age. They're from a different era, a whole different era. And their memories, obviously, they're not perfect anymore, but their personality is. So I rode with that, but I've been in awe of his work, and he did a great little stereocomic satiric horror film called Cutting Class with Brad Pitt. I think may have been his first film. It's his first. And Jill Sholin. To me, very interesting movie. I always laugh when I watch that movie, and so I knew what he was. I knew him. I knew his work. I watched everything he's been responsible for, including an interesting Russian epic. I mean, he's just an interesting writer, but an interesting thinker. And Borman, in his his autobiographies would almost undercut not his importance, but he just says right off the bat that, it's almost like he's like an appendage of Borman's, like he was just an interesting guy, never said a bad word about him, always thought he was fascinating, befriended him because he was such an unusual, unique thinker. So I couldn't wait to talk to him. But, he's, not, his memory is human, So I got a great interview out of him, but I thought it needed context. So I kind of combined the visual essay with the interview. So it really is about what I was determining once Pallenberg's son very generously started giving me emails from between the two of them for years, and going back 20 some odd years, and letters even further, and footage that Pallenberg had shot on Deliverance back, that has never been seen outside of the family. So I made this thing basically about my impression of their relationship together as friends, as it's almost like a sexless, passionate marriage that they had, that their bonding came out through the films. And the ideas they each endorsed by each other. I mean, and then, which is so eccentric and so personal. I saw it as a love story. I saw it as some kind of a love story, and a believable one with ups and downs, and honestly, so that was great. And Neil really, Snowden was really great with encouraging me to try and get another point of view, and it wasn't just an ordinary interview. It looked like one at first, but then suddenly I was able, in the editing, you'll see I start to toy with things, with the actual picture. I mean, so I had fun as well. It wasn't just like cutting an interview. It's all about what I did on the set of. It didn't interest me. And I knew there was so much else. So many other people were being interviewed and things. I just think it's great that at some point, and this is again, I know I sound like a nut, but it's worth it. Neil put everything into context. So he knew that when you watch all the extras, you're not just watching about the production. You're really sort of centrifugal. You're becoming John Borman at some point. You're understanding not just this one movie's production, but what it meant to him, and what eventually you're gonna it'll just come across all these different perspectives in the extras. Sort of are harmonious to each other, and I love that type of attitude, that care of and he was able to say to me, this is what I'm hoping for from these other things. And then it was great. And he did that also with Inglourious Bastards. And he also did that with The Cell. He helped me get a great focus, but I did a very long, very technically detailed interview on The Cell with Paul Laufer, who was the cinematographer. And he was absolutely brilliant and fun guy, and that was also long and in two parts, I guess, because they split it in where it needed to be split for another use on the second disc. But they gave me a point of view so that when I went into the interview for doing an interview, I knew what I wanted to know about the guy. Now that, and to find out, I didn't even know this really. I just assumed he did, he had an extensive commercial background, but Laufer actually did, that he actually said, this is my first narrative feature. And I think this might be my last because because of Tarsem and I think Warner Brothers, they let him do everything he wanted to do. He said anything he wanted to learn, anything he wanted to try, they let him do it. So afterwards, he's like, there was really nothing else I wanted to do in this realm. It's like, to me, that's like, so not only did I get to know something interesting about the movie, but I'm learning about this amazing personality and this amazing talent, and how he's approaching this particular project. I like that. That's cool. Arrow's given me a lot of leeway in that, and so that's really cool. The Borman stuff, the Terminal Man. It's just, I love these two guys a lot. I admired them both, all my life from the minute I was introduced to both of their films, Well,
and Terminal Man was a big movie for you, right? If I remember right. I think that was one that you had always cherished.
I mean, I saw it when I was in 4th grade alone. I was dropped off at the movie theater because it was playing with, I think, High Averback's, the Peter Sellers movie, I Love You, Alice B. Toklas. I was 10, I think, or 9 or 10, and I just was dropped. It was Alice B. Toklas and Juggernaut was the triple feature that was playing this little mini cine. It was called tiny little theater, about 70-seat theater. So when I saw that, that was the wasn't the first Mike Hodges, but it was the first I knew the name. I knew the name. I had seen Get Carter and I had seen Pulp in the theater, but I didn't connect it. I didn't connect them at the time. I knew, and I didn't. And Get Carter was very upsetting. It was one of those things. I saw it when I was 5 or so, and my fingers were over my eyes. It was. I was really upset by a lot of that movie, and it was very emotional. That watching it now, I go, wow, it's really actually an emotional movie. But Hodges was like that, and so this was, a great assignment. I was very touched that Neil asked me to do it because he knew. Probably because my Facebook posts, occasionally I would go on and tell about these guys. But Richard Klein and Mike Hodges, for two totally different types of guys, and just knowing them the way I did, it was a very emotional thing, and and it was nice that I would hand it in, and you'd hear back from that George Feltenstein, who is the head of Warner's, he has to approve these things. To hear him say this is a great this is a good tribute to these guys, and then I'm being told that these, they never get criticism from the approval. It's like either do it, cut this, change this. So I was like, it was just nice to know that I'm not wasting my memories or my emotions on, revealing them to the public when, are they just expecting something else out of this? I can only, make it the same thing whenever I talk about Sidney Lumet, which I'm about to do another commentary with Nathaniel for Imprint. A great Sidney Lumet movie that no one knows is a great Sidney Lumet movie, and I really invite people to just explore this, is Critical Care with James Spader and Helen Mirren. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've never been able to see it, but I've heard it's great.
I don't know. It depends. Someone was like, I never even heard of it before. It's like, it is phenomenal and really perverse and very funny. And it's a great Lumet. So just being able to have an outlet where I can sort of make people, see it through my eyes, as opposed to, even if it's, I don't know if it's, but I'm really looking forward to a lot of these things. Like, I was so happy to see how Outland was.
I was about to mention, because it got brought up earlier, but we haven't really dove deep into it. You did 2 things for that disc, right?
No, I did 4 pieces for it.
Shit! Okay.
There's only just one really good visual essay that I didn't do on it. It was all about its high noonism, its connection with High Noon. And I didn't do the commentaries. Obviously, there's two different sets of commentaries. One is, I think, a archival with Hyams, and then there's another. And forgive me, I forgot who did it. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it.
It is Chris Alexander.
Oh, Chris Alexander. Okay, yeah. I haven't gotten to listen to it. I heard it was a fun track, but I haven't listened to it yet. Excuse me. But no, I did the interview with Stephen Goldblatt, the cinematographer. Again, he was in Mexico, and we zoomed it. And that was terrifying because He's amazing, and I love Breaking Glass. Is the first theatrical film, and he also did The Hunger. I mean, to me, Cotton Club, Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. I mean, really amazing. Yeah. But he's another very soft-spoken, funny human guy, and I love that he had a human perspective of all his work that he was happy to share and be very frank and open about, because it's an interesting story about Outland between him and Hyams. The relationship was not perfect, I'll say. So it's an interesting thing, but I was screwed by Zoom. I had gone through this long for trying to figure. I got a better computer to do the interview through. I did all this stuff, and I had to sign up with the Zoom on this new computer, and I had to get a business thing. All the subscription a bit to get the high def, and so I'm sitting there. I do it, and the interview was lovely, just great, and I check afterwards, and all the settings were at the lowest settings.
Oh, no.
Imaginable. I'm like, what is this? So I ended up talking to someone at Zoom, and they're like, oh, I said, you guys made me upgrade. Once I had all the settings and everything, made me upgrade. Suddenly I couldn't use
they erased it all.
And they go, oh, yeah, well, yeah. I said, but, when you upgrade, it usually upgrades around your existing settings.
Yeah,
and they're like, we haven't gotten that. And I'm like, so I had to. If you watch the piece with Stephen Goldblatt, I was sweating because it didn't look good. I mean, it was Zoom anyway; it doesn't look all that great. So I finally thought of a way to sort of trick the audience into thinking that it was appropriate and nothing was wrong. So I don't want to ruin it, but I thought it was pretty funny. The solution that I had, I was sweating my balls off. I was like, I hope this is going to work. And I've read all these reviews. Not once did they call it out. So I was happy. Same thing happened with Peter McDonald on Excalibur. I had to come up with a sort of a psychological thing. So we'll see. We'll see if that passes the test.
I'm eager to see that one. I will admit I did get that one ordered the day it was announced, knowing how important it was to you and knowing the amount of work that went into it, and not to mention I've still never seen it. I've heard that it's really good, and
wait, which one?
I've never seen Excalibur.
Oh, I'm jealous.
No,
wow.
I'm behind on that one. Yeah.
No. I'm jealous. I'm if anything, I'm really excited for you. This is what it's for. This is what this is for. Wait, you're supposed to be born seeing all these things? That's happenstance.
I mean, you were.
That's happenstance. That's just. I'm not in control of that. I was an infant.
I wish I was seeing a triple feature in a 70-seat cinema when I was 10 years old. That's for sure.
But isn't that what we're doing this? We're all living vicariously through everyone we meet, right? That's the whole fun.
That's true.
But you're in control of this. You're gonna have a great time. I mean, I'd love to see. You definitely want to hear what you have to say about it. It's an amazing movie. But what it had to do with Borman touched me so much more. Than just, it being, it was definitely not a product, And what's cool is they're including the radically different edit of the movie for TV, which I've never seen. And I am super psyched that Arrow went the distance with this. And also, they also have a fantastic. I mean, I think everybody doing extras on this, Jonathan Zarin and me and whoever, we all had to use bits of this. But it was Neil Jordan,
the documentary.
Yeah, and that was because Borman gave him a chance. Thought he was an interesting guy, just like Pallenberg gave him a chance, and I want to work with him. And he produced one of his movies, I think. Early on, an early film by him. But Jordan's another fascinating guy, and you could just tell that he was as swept up in Borman's mania as I was, way before, even before Excalibur,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing Zardoz. I dragged my poor dad, dragged him to see Zardoz, but he loved Sean Connery, so fine with him. But we went opening night, and it was like, I didn't know that there were people who were going to think, something was like bad, or, I mean, campy. Well, that's sort of a style. That's a sense of humor. It's not. I wouldn't say it was out and out trying to be campy. I think camp was a certain aspect of Borman's humor, just in general. But it wasn't. I didn't think it sacrificed the film. It's a pretty dense film with some very funny bits and funny ideas in it. It's just a satire, but.
Right.
When you learn about Borman, you learn about his Arthurian obsession, and you start watching his movies from the very beginning. And he even goes into it to Neil Jordan. I was like, oh, wow, this is even back then, because he had to exploit it then, because, it was making of Excalibur. He had the guy on the set.
Right.
But he really went into it. And I love when a filmmaker is sort of so confessional about his private passion, his private focus, his reason, little tiny, dark, little, closeted reasons for being, and this Arthurian thing. And it really helped me understand his relationship with Pallenberg, because had I not known that he wanted to be Arthur, he also knew that Arthur needed a Merlin, and Pallenberg, just his character just fit. They both fit the role. It was crazy. And so he wanted to, it wasn't just, I like Arthur and I'm working it into my stories. He's living it somehow in his real life. He's putting himself in positions where he is Arthur and he has to learn from certain people, but those certain people have to fit such a fragile human criteria about his idea of Merlin, what he's, where the sources he identifies with. There's a million authors of Arthurian legends, but so it really becomes quite a vivid depiction of the heart of this guy. And then you look at Deliverance again, and you go, wow, it's not the movie that I remember seeing 100 times before, right. Or Hell in the Pacific or Point Blank. You go, wow. You realize you were innocent when you watched it for yourself, and then you've been, you sort of been tainted, polluted by knowing the heartbeat behind these movies. I just love the feeling like you can watch a film so many different ways. It's not just one movie you're watching. You're suddenly watching it through a bunch of different eyes. So this was a cool year for a lot of things, like The Terminal Man, and Francesco Simeone at Radiance, and Paul Martinovic at at Radiance, and now Transmission. They're fantastic too, because I was asked simultaneously by these guys if I would do the Wicked Game, a visual essay on Robert Hosson for the Wicked Games set, and also for the Night of the Juggler, the Transmission release, which I'm really thinking, I can't be disloyal to Kino, but they didn't. I don't think they poured it over my visual essay, but I honestly think that maybe the Transmission one, if people has to ask, I'm kind of leaning towards that, because there's a couple of things that could sort of poured over, not the Nathaniel Thompson, Steve Mitchell commentary, but I may have to say, maybe buy both if you really care about the movie, because there's some really cool stuff on the Transmission one. It's a pretty hefty set. But I loved doing both of those visual essays. Those I did alone. Again, for the Hosson, I really thought I had to I found out, my God, I was shaking when I found out that Tim Lucas was doing the commentaries for all three of those movies. And I'm like, I bow down. I can't compete with so I wanted to know, just to get a focus. I ended up calling Tim and asking him like permission to do this. Like, I'm like, what am I? So he was pretty good with me on that one. He told me, more than I hate asking people, like, what did you do? Or what did you cover? It's such a classless thing to do, but I just didn't want to repeat. I didn't want to step on his toes because they're pretty mighty toes, and I was looking forward to when I found out he was doing it. I was like, gosh, do I even have anything new to say that would be interesting? But he was great. Like we talked for a long time, and I went and I was just able to suddenly do it, So, but I love doing both of those pieces. I think Radiance and Transmission, they're going to be, Radiance is already like side swiping people,
taking over the world. Yeah,
seriously. And I think Francesco, he worked for Arrow for like 10 years. Yeah. But yet he's found a totally new voice separate from that without hurting anything that Arrow does. It's really cool.
The funny thing, though, a lot of what Fran is doing now, Arrow used to do, and you could literally tell what was Fran coded that entire time. The moment he stepped away and the moment the Hut Group thing happened, it is all a completely different world. And he stepped in and immediately was not just successful, but like in an enthralling way, in a way that everybody just stared at. Yeah,
beautifully put. Yeah, absolutely. I totally concur. It's remarkable. Isn't it great though that now here we can talk about not even the producers of the disc, the creators. Now we're talking about like the people who created the label.
It's like curation is a big deal. Yeah.
Oh man, it's like it's just wild. It's really wild, and it's so liberating to me because this is the world I've been inducted into.
After we're not live, we got to talk about something else about that too. That'll be fun before you hang up tonight.
You got it.
It's other than I think you've named a lot of the more recent ones. Other than that, how about some Kino Lorber stuff you've done this year?
Oh my gosh, that's where I go. Like,
name one of 83 commentaries that you did.
They're all really cool. I just have to be careful not to announce something that hasn't been. Obviously,
everybody
Rampage,
cover your ears.
Rampage.
Yes, Rampage.
Daniel and I, Friedkin's Rampage, we wanted to do, and the thing what's funny is that afterwards. I think you've even commented on this phenomenon, is that you could be offered the greatest set on earth with the greatest greatest print, the greatest transfer, and someone's going to be unhappy about like something.
Yep.
And afterwards, not that I blame them, but it's like someone had noticed that there was like literally maybe a 35-second scene or two 30-second, not even scenes from the original. Maybe it was the Japanese Laserdisc. No, I didn't have, when I was preparing for it, I didn't have the new version yet. I didn't have the two new versions, and I only had. That's where I saw it. I had bought the Laserdisc, 1989, 88 or something like that, at a video store that I used to frequent in Long Island. And so I had the Laserdisc. So I watched the Laserdisc. So I didn't know. And it's like, it must have been so minor that I didn't even notice it was missing because we're already in the thick of, now we have the actual thing, we're watching it. And this is going to happen. That's what Video Watchdog was there for. I mean, like, there's if Tim was still doing Video Watchdog, my God, it would be it would be, 100 different versions of every fucking movie, now. So that, we did this, which I always thought the original was an astonishing Friedkin movie. And then when Miramax, basically after De Laurentiis ghosted
After shelving it,
Friedkin,
yeah.
right. And the contract was such where Friedkin owed the money to the people who didn't get, when the thing was not distributed. De Laurentiis just ghosted him and left him. So he had to do something. So Miramax, I guess, they screened it to test audiences who were already, Silence of the Lambs out. That was out. That wasn't out. There was nothing when it was made. It wasn't made yet. But I'm sure there was the only reason why Miramax agreed to do it. And when they did the new version, it's such a dramatically different edit. And I remember hearing, before I saw the new version, I remember hearing Friedkin going on about, and it sounded so contrived, like, oh, I have this political stance and I think I changed as a human being and blah, blah, blah. And then I find out, no, he needed that sale really bad. Yeah. So I think he's just, he just, I don't know if pretend is the right word, but he concocted this scenario, this pitch to audiences. Why, that it has a different. It really almost doesn't. What it does have is it's not subtle, and right. It becomes almost propagandistic. And they made him change every mysterious lyrical. Which is what his whole structure is in any movie. You spend 45 minutes figuring out where you are, who you're with, what their point is, who these people are, and what's the drama and where we're going with it. Yeah. I mean, watch The Brinks job, watch any movie, French Connection. You're not told. You're thrown in the middle of everything, and you sort it out eventually, like they have the characters.
Even Jade. Yeah.
Even
the
Jade.
Movie starts and you're looking at little jewelry boxes of pubic hair.
Right. Look. The longer version of Jade is fantastic. I mean, it just is a great. It does not resemble in those tiny minute changes. It doesn't resemble the original that was in the theater, and this is sort of the same story with Rampage. So I was really pleased with how that came out. I just didn't know that. I didn't notice there was another minutia. I'm glad I own the Laserdisc. I guess if there is something that small, I haven't even gone back to see what those differences are yet. But I was pretty proud of that. I thought that was a great movie, and I was really happy that people were finally getting to see it. It's certainly not censored in any way, or that there was anything. Right. And we just did another movie as well. I don't like announcing that it's coming out, but another movie where there was like we did the theatrical release version of a movie coming up that they're going to release, and they're including there's a European version which supposedly has more violence in it. It really doesn't. Like it does, but it's like no, there's nothing.
A couple flashes.
There's nothing maybe there that you would never even notice it if you saw both versions back to back. So that's the only reason why I'm like, and I'm not like that. Normally I'm like, no, it's censored. You're like, no, it's not at all. It was just a couple of shots here and there of almost nothing, like to be whacked out about. So Nathaniel and I were both like, this is trivial. And I'm not being flippant about it. Because there are cases where I would be like the Devils, where there's 5 different
actual censorship.
And there are 5 different movies with 5 different themes now. They've cut everything to a different film. But Rampage was really good. I really liked doing that. Again, like Rachel pointed out, we love doing the Belmondos and the
Belmondo stuff, yeah.
But not even for the stars, not even for the directors were all these wonderful directors that were spit on by the new wave directors in France as being old fogies, and which they weren't. I mean, or having built up the language mainly around Hollywood directors and not a unique cultural voice, a stylistic voice from France, which, was a concern, I guess, of that era, late 60s, mid 60s. And so I really love going in and introducing people to directors like Jules Grangier or Jean Delanois or Jean Herman, or all these really, really terrific directors.
Right.
A
lot of stuff that wouldn't come out from anybody besides Kino, that's for sure.
And I think they're doing a really great job. Mainly, I mean, it's not up to them. The elements are not always up to them,
right?
But I do know that, and I have a lot of respect for Frank Tarzi, who curates that company impeccably. I mean, there was a couple of times where there was something that we noticed about a print or something, and I know for a fact several times we would have reported to him, and when he couldn't find a satisfactory, once he found out of the issue, if there wasn't a satisfactory conclusion, rather than cynically treat it like a product and just throw it out there, he refused to do it until better elements were found or something, So I really, give huge hats off to Frank for again, like you're saying, you're saying it's not just because they've gotten the catalog. He's, it's sort of it's still curated out of love for those titles, out of or at least him wanting to learn more about the movie than himself. So Kino's done some great stuff this year. I mean, I'm trying to think of others. My God, I can't even. Oh my goodness, the Sugar Hill we did. These are some that just kind of got passed by critics and stuff. We did Sugar Hill. Nathaniel and Steve Mitchell and we did Orca, which I love, and I knew, I had encounters with Richard Harris about it when I was trying to get him to do something, do a voiceover for me. He was a great guy, and he told me a lot. I mean, he really spilled his guts out over it too, which is kind of cool. Made me go back and read the novel to see there was a lot of changes in it. But like Orca, I thought was a really good track, and also the Godsend. I don't know if you saw that. A British horror film. I thought that was a wonderful little movie, really unnecessarily nuanced. And, it was like, wow, this is very, literary almost in a way. Yeah. And it was really smart and a good, ultimately a cool horror film that separated itself from why it was, because of The Omen. It was like, it's different. It was a totally different thing. It wasn't a cynical ripoff. It was handled by some interesting people. So it was good. It was definitely a good lush year, but there's so many titles that I'm forgetting. But
that's okay. You gave hats off to Frank Tarzi. We got to give hats off to you. You and Nathaniel and Eugenio and Troy Howarth and Steve Mitchell and all these people are they're not even unstoppable. Like, it is crazy when I do the show every single week that there are sometimes I say Nathaniel Thompson's name 5 times in 1 week, undoubtedly.
Yeah. Literally. And Eugenio, same thing.
Well, and he's doing not only that, he's acquiring films for some of these companies. He's doing so many of the interviews. He's editing things. Sure. He's crazy. Yeah.
He literally must have a discipline where every day he has to go to 5 homes to shoot. To archive every working talent in Italy. And then now, you're right. Now he's moving into other countries too. God bless him. He's cool. Really, really cool. And it's good. I did a couple of things with him. Again, they haven't been announced, so I can't say. And we're about to do another, Nathaniel and Eugenio and I were about to do another commentary.
Nice.
In another week? In like a week or something like that, yeah. After the New Year's. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great. I learned so much from these guys, and I'm just very happy that they want me along occasionally, So, but yeah, yeah, and
Well,
you're,
I know I was glad to
you're
have
like
you
the
this year
demon too, buddy. I mean, like, you don't see it as yourself because, when you're in the thick of it, it's just war until you're, you're back from the war, But yeah, I mean, you're definitely, a major, you're a valve in our, in the heart that beats our careers. So, much appreciation for sure.
Doing what I can. Again, like I was saying, it was an honor to be able to do one with you this year. I can't wait to do another one. I think The Ugly turned out great, and yeah,
You just let me know.
I think it was an interesting one for us to do for a first title together. But
yeah.
I'm ready for a second one.
Yeah, you let me know. Well, you know where I am.
You got it.
I haven't left this desk now in 2 years, so that's a good feeling. I'm all right.
We'll get the chain off someday. Thanks for the time tonight. Hope Christmas was great for you.
Too.
Thanks for spending it with me.
Yep, of course. Anytime, Ryan.
Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Yeah.
I'm glad. Thank you, everybody who wrote questions and stuff. This is really great. I'm very humbled. Thank you so much.
Well, everybody that's got more questions, same in the chat. I'll try to port them over to Howard somewhere, and maybe we can respond to some of those. Again, thank you all for hanging out. It's Christmas, and we got a bunch of people watching tonight. That's got to be amazing.
Yeah, right.
Next week, it's already the first of the year, which means it's time for brand new Vinegar Syndrome announcements. We've got a lot to cover next Thursday. That is the start of Subscriber Week. Lots to cover then, of course. Until then, stay safe. I know there's flooding and lots of sickness going on out there for everybody, so stay out of it, and until then, we'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah, happy holidays, people. Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.
Hey, movie lovers, I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson. We are the hosts of the Next Reel Film Podcast.
If you're passionate about films like we are, you'll love our show. Each week, we dive deep into a movie, discussing everything from the story and performances to the cinematography and score.
Not to mention budgets and awards. We have covered iconic series like Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather trilogy, examining themes of power, family, and the dark side of the American dream.
We've explored the works of groundbreaking directors like Catherine Bigelow, discussing her mastery of tension.
We've looked at heist films, great car chases, great years in film, couples on the run, and more.
Our discussions go beyond the surface, examining what makes each film tick. We believe that when the movie ends, the conversation begins.
And we'd love for you to join that conversation. Find the Next Reel Film Podcast on your favorite podcast app or at thenextreel.com.
The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Hello! This is Matt. And Emily from Scarecrow Video in Seattle, Washington. Did you know that we have the largest video collection in the world? We have over 146,000 titles and growing. That's over 3 times more than Netflix, Amazon, Max, and Hulu combined.
Plus, Scarecrow now offers rent-by-mail service throughout the U.S., so check out scarecrowvideo.org for details. You can catch Emily and I, or Matt and I, if that was going to be you saying that, on our bi-weekly YouTube show, Viva Physical Media, for video recommendations and so much more.
See ya!
Bye!
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description